Boom! Greetings and salutations. Beautiful freaking people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That's your boy, Joey Apps. Look at that big smile ear to ear. You're having a good Monday morning. I like that.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Then, eh?
I didn't do anything, man.
Yeah, but you got a smile ear to ear.
Yeah,
You're not gonna fool me,
that's all
bro.
that matters. I just watched some Avatar and watched a lot of people get beat up, and yeah, that's the good stuff, man.
Yeah, we're going to be getting into some of that later a little bit. There was a very, very predictable result and a very unpredictable, well, I don't want to say unpredictable, but somebody's got a lot of explaining to do.
I don't think you can be top G after that.
You can't be top G. Oh, Fabian's coming in hot so far. I like it. All right, let's say hello to everybody.
Crazy.
Shout out to Durant, Gordon, and Hangry Wife. We got Lucas the Champ. We got Nifty. We got Happy Coder and I don't know who that is. Joey gets distracted. Sports and Clips. Oichiro, Jeremy Newman, and Yannick. Shout out to Jay Coingy, Scott. We got Scott H, the Get Her Done. He says, Grant Ratcliffe, Rex Banner. We got Picky Eater. Who else, man? We got David. We got Drop System, Brown Lightning, Conservative Movement, Durant Gordon, KC, 526. Why not? Why not? Joe's Big Daddy, exclusively Aaron, Vancouver, something or another. We got The Real Dangerous, Luis Latino, Rubio, Super No, Victor. We got, who else, man? John DiPietro. We got Frank Trades, and we got Adrenaline Angels, Yuckleberry, King Clutch, HP Motor Cars. Couple more, Joey. 2225 Studio. And I want to see if there's a new one over here. Looking for a new one. All these ones I already know. Arnulfo. I probably butchered that, but then it's okay. We can just blame Google for not putting everybody's full names in.
Jose from
there. Good morning to everybody, and good morning to you.
You know who? Do you know the guy 225? His name is 225.
225. No, but I like 25. Immediately, you got my attention. What's up?
225. It's like just this little guy from Miami who like says he can bench
225, but he can't do it.
Yeah.
Why is everybody's everyone's standard? 225.
He can do it, but he tries to like run around and like get girls' numbers, but he never does. He always fails.
He's got to show them him doing 225. Maybe they'll be impressed.
Funny. Yeah, it's funny stuff,
I'm exaggerating for a fact.
I need some sun. All right, guys, let's see what we got going on here today. Tesla, we got the move off of the low here. It was a nice move. We're only risking 10 cents once again, and then we get it up to about a 3 to 1 at $23 flat, and we take 40% off, and then we get this aggressive pullback, and then sure enough, now we're off to the races once again. So that was a decent trade there on TSLL. And then I'm going to probably be trading IBIT, go 0 for deuce on this one here. So that was a little bit more of a tough start. We take a couple stabs right out of the gate, and then I'm like, you know what? As of late, I have not been performing well on it. So AC Slater to that one. We'll get out of that. So right now, Tesla's going to be our big dog, our winner. Slightly red on the positive, but it's only one trade away from going green again, guys. So yeah, we'll see if we can end that 2-day red streak and then head back into a solid greenery by the end of the day. If it's happening to your hair, bro, it's going, man. That's all it is. Adair, what do you got for us?
Couple things to be aware of here. Keep an eye on GOOGL announcing they're going to be acquiring Intersect for $4.75 billion in cash and debt. Now, Intersect is, why this is significant is because the company is actually an energy provider for data centers. So data center related play here for GOOGL. CSX also on watch. Josh Brown saying this one's a long idea, calling it, quote, a buy right now. So again, Josh Brown, long idea for CSX. Alphabet set to acquire this Intersect. Back to you.
All right.
Strafe, we'll go over what I got going on the board. There's a nice indecision print with an isolated volume signature on NVDA, and it's now starting to come back in. So aggressive selling here in the couple of the, or I guess the biggest chip name, boom, and to the downside. So a nice big volume print, inverted hammer candle, and then now, sure enough, you head off to the downside there.
All right, let's get to work because there's a lot moving here. Here are the 8 that I'm looking at to start the morning. Top left of your screen, RZLV. Big breakout right at 9:30. No, incorrect. 9:45 breakout. We are in the consolidation component of the bull flag. This is a day to play. It got shellacked on Thursday. It recovered on Friday. And look at that long cup and handle pattern. Well, not long. It's 2 days long. And now we've got continuation. Look for a move and a hold above 3. I want to say the break above 305 and a holding above 3. RZLV certainly in focus. Neil prefaced this one before the end of the morning show. HXHX. When this one woke up in the morning, it was 35 pennies. It was a small cap gapper, barely on anybody's radar. It now has topped the market in terms of percentage winners on the day. This is the leading gapper in the market, up almost 200%, 190, as it does the dance with absolutely no underwear or pants with that $1 area. I perceive 85 pennies to be the breakout area. I wouldn't mind a retesting of the high to mid 80s for reversion, and then we can have another discussion there. But you know what I'm going to say? There goes LUNR through $16. We've got this one at 97s. Let's wet the beak at 05s. Good breakout there. I'll get to that one in a second. It's really going over here. I didn't get any of my dip trades on this one either, so we're just working with the initial position. Going on with the other ones that are moving, MENS. Pardon me, 78% in the VIL of green, and this one is holding over above 5 1/4. I like this 5 1/4 for a couple of reasons. One, it is the breakout area from the implied balance high into that 5 1/5. That's where we topped out at the 950 candle. Then all hell broke loose down into 380, losing over $1.50, but it was quick to recover with it now a 643 high. But lo and behold, look at what it did over here. Drops down, holds the volume weighted average price, which is basically overlapping with that implied balance high breakout. Alas, that is the good news. The bad news, we are in a 1, 2, 3, 4 candle lower high pullback, but pulling back, or bouncing, I should say, off key technical levels. Keep your eye on this one. NBY is a holdover from Friday. It was very strong. It's not strong as strong, I want to say, on the day, but 11 2/3. Keep your eye on this one. LUNR, I'll get to that one in a second. I'm involved in that. FJET. This is another very good one. This was an IPO late in the, or I don't want to say early in the day, actually opened up at 10:45 on Friday, and it's having yet another good day. 2 bull flags under this one's belt. The first one starting out at 9:30. There's the big move up. There's the consolidation component of the flag, and there's the breakout above 10 to 10 1/4. We are in bull flag number 2. Whether we get 3, we'll have to wait and see. Set it up though, so that you're ready for it if it does happen. SIDU. Neil was talking about this one in the pre-market. SIDU, we were joking, like, you know, it sounded like a person from India's name, right? SIDU, having another good day. This one was a sub $1 to start the day on Friday. It is now 205 high, and it's trying to hold the volume weighted average price in and around 2. DPRO, another good one, and another second day play. This was very strong. I want to say late in the morning on Friday. It got a bit of a move there, 11:30 with big boy volume, and then we started putting in higher highs and higher lows into the afternoon. We didn't give it up in the afternoon during regular trading hours or after market. We kind of consolidated, and now we are holding Friday's lows and putting in new highs today. DPRO, it's not a big 11 and change, but it is a second day play and a good look nonetheless. So LUNR, the one I'm involved in right now, 1610 high, and this is the one I haven't talked about yet, ironically enough, since I'm in it. What a great few days, I want to say, for LUNR. This one on Thursday, we are up about 56% from the opening print on Thursday. It had a good day Thursday, it had a good day Friday, and so far, we never really know how these ones are going to work. Having a good day today, really holding the 10 EMA on the 5, Joey. That's going to be, you know, my target. Any pullbacks into the 10 EMA, so long as it's holding, is a refresh area for me.
All right, cool, good stuff, man. Let's take a look at some of these names on volume here. We got the quantum space looking like they're moving pretty hot today. So there it is, QBTS to the top side and not really slowing down right now. So you have the bull flag type price action, continuous higher lows there, which is something extremely positive. Rigetti bull flag breakout, so that's looking pretty good. I've seen a couple other names across the list, but let's just head down here. Rocket Labs. Bull flag breakout right there. So a nice strong 5-minute print, 10 minutes later and still open. Now you consolidate. maybe just absorbing liquidity before you take that additional leg higher. So that's looking pretty good right there is RKLB. We went over RGTI. It's a pretty slow one in my opinion. I'm looking at the overall market and some of the bigger names and not too much really going on. INTC, oh, I was looking at Nike not too long ago and another aggressive session to the downside on NKE. This is absolutely disastrous. I don't know if this stock can ever recover. I personally don't think so. Let's kind of make this a little bit. Yeah, it's a disaster, Sharif. I don't think this stock will ever get back to all-time highs. I don't know what's going to have to happen. They go just strictly online or something. I don't know what it is. $179. You're now trading at 50-something. So yeah, it's going to take a long time if it does. At 67%. And in my opinion, I think this is the most popular brand on the planet. And if this can't do it, I don't know what that says for other retail names, to be honest with you. So there it is, a tough, aggressive move, 70%. Where did we peak there? In November of 21. So it's been 4 years and just no recovery. QUBT, let's see what we got going on over here. We'll head over to the 5-minute time frame, guys. Quantum space, once again, continuing to be red hot. Mara, how have you been trading? How you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing? APLD applied digital, another strong move to the top side. Take a look at this from a daily, guys. Oh, that's a weekly. Strong stuff, if you ask me, and continuing to kind of just recover from some of the losses that it experienced off of that peak. We were down approximately 53%, and then now you get a nice little bounce to the top side, up an additional 50% right there, so $19 to $30, which is pretty good, not too bad of a look whatsoever. I heard Neil talking about CCL. Breakout. What's going on with the Carnival Cruise Line here? A nice move from the lows of $24 all the way up to $32. That's a 30% popper right there. So not too bad whatsoever. An advanced money duplicator as of late starting to come back in. You're down 20% off of that previous pivot high, guys. So there's a couple of the bigger names. LUNR, let's see what this name's up to. I'm just looking for something that might be hot right now because Tesla not doing too good. We have NVDA still chopping around the volume weighted average price. And the Qs are just a slow grind higher, so maybe we can get involved in some dips. SLV I was looking at as well too, guys, but that's not really attractive to me at this point. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on a lot of things, and I'm in no rush to hop into any form of position. When I say that, I tend to do it typically relatively quick after I say those things. But today we're not doing that because I want to focus and I want to not just take stabs at everything, but higher quality setups, Shree.
All right, guys, men's MENS on the NQ up almost 100% is getting a bit of a bid. It has a 643 high. It's showing me 30s. This one, despite looking very liquid as we watch the tape, you know, and the price action develop here on the level 2, it looks very liquid. Alas, I have seen this one spready 6, 7, 8 pennies. At times, it's not always like that. Right now, there you go, 11 penny spread. It just opened up ridiculous as the bid dropped off. That has to factor in to how you trade it because you can find yourself quick, very quickly, quick as you like, almost immediately out of the money to the tune of like 10, 11 pennies because you have to get out on the bid, right? If you're forced to get out, if it comes in obviously to your stop. So I'm gonna keep an eye here on MENS. Looks very good as we work our way off the volume weighted average price, and it looks like, you know, it held that 5 1/3 give or take. And now it's doing the dance here with 6 1/4, 6 1/3. This candle did break prior trend. I'm talking about the current 1110 candle on the 5-minute chart on MENS. It did break trend by clearing that double top, I want to say at 588. Let me just double check. I love when it's supposed to mouse over and tell me what the high and low of the candle is, and sometimes it just doesn't do that, Joey. It's like, no, I'm not going to show you this particular one, but I'll show you other ones. And I really don't know when it wants to show and when it doesn't, but I know you love those charts as well, brother.
Which ones, brother?
Well, these ones, of course.
I love
the ones I'm trying to convince you to use all the time.
Yeah, the old school ones, yeah.
In any event, guys, MENS is still technically lower highs, even though it did break that double top at 588, because you have to be looking at that 1050 candle, because that 1050 candle made the high of the day. That is the 643 high. So I'm keeping my eye out on this one. I don't really have a clearly defined plan for how I want to get into MENS. I don't want to get in at $6 on a pullback there. That doesn't make sense to me because 6 really hasn't been a clear area of technical support or resistance. So that puts away $6 as a, you know, a sort of dip trade because we're trading at 620. But then there is a 10 EMA. And I'm much more inclined. Oh, wow. There it goes into the high of the day, 671. That high that we just put in, that is the halt parameter. Look at the red rectangle on my level 2. LULD means limit up, limit down, 671. That's a new high of day, 671.
Oh,
sorry, bro, sorry. You have no idea how many TikTok videos I still see about 6.7 on my feed. I know it's getting old, but it makes me chuckle. In any event, look at the chat. Of course they can. Of course. So 671. Oh, I hope that stays as the high of the day all day so that I can keep just saying 671.
All day.
No, Joey. So the limit up now is up to 682. Oh. That obviously develops, so it's no longer 671. In any event, so I was trying to pontificate here about how I get in. Clearly, I don't have the right idea because this was a breakout trade. I'm going to have to let men's settle a little bit here before I weasel on in. SIDU, I'm trying to build a position here on SIDU to pick up the higher lows. I am cognizant, of course, though, of the lower highs that we've been putting in. It's a 250 high that we put in right at 1027, and then it's been subsequent lower highs after that. So need to be on the lookout for a possible break below VWAP. But it breaks below VWAP, I just end the trade. It really is that simple for me because I won't trade it south of the volume weighted average price. But it looks like men's is on the breakout now. It's another high a day. It's 77s now, and I feel that that might change momentarily because we're awfully close to 77s. We're looking to be taking it out. Here we go, 77 showing up again. There it is again. Now it's 80 high a day. It is a 97 high a day. Limit up is 98, guys. MENS breaking out as we speak. I've got nothing onto it right now, but I'm not going to punch in at highs. I just won't do it. 708 high of day. That is the limit up. So 708 high a day, but we're not quite at the limit yet. We're not showing that halt parameter that we get when the same price comes in. Now we're showing it 708 high. We need to stay at this price and in this way for 10 seconds. Then we'll get the gray out on the level 2. MENS is the big boy of the day today, and we're going to be looking at doing some damage on this one. It is now halted, 708 halt time, 11:18:33. Earliest we will be open, 11:23:33. We're going to be looking at this one, Joey.
All right, brother. Let's see what's going on, Joe. I was saying that your name is BA. I'm a Joey too. Tear it up, brother. Leave stain. Oh, carpet. All right. Thanks for that, Joe. Love it. Yeah, funny.
FJET breakout as well.
FJET, let's take a look at. All right, man. Let's take a look at FJET. By the time we're talking about the breakouts, we're probably a little bit too late on that. But ooh, FJET. There it goes, guys. A nice little move to the top side. We're ready to rock and roll here. Ready. So there it is. A nice move, ABCD pattern here on multiple occasions. You're taking that third leg higher. A, B, C, D, boom. Again, A, B, C, boom. Off to the races there in FJET. So that's looking pretty good, guys. Hopefully you are all, or a couple of you are involved in that. I know not every single individual is going to be, but that's all right. But yeah, other than that, guys, shout out some good names. I want to find some stocks that are at extreme lows or extreme highs, so maybe we can find somewhat of a retracement play or at the volume weighted average price. I like buying VWAP as well too. I think that's a pretty solid strat that I run. Again, so that's what I'm looking at. SPY, I think is, well, it is. It's not that I think, it is significantly stronger than the TQs here as you're trading above the volume weighted average price and now putting in a new high of the day. As for the TQs, you're not even anywhere close to that. I wonder who's causing that. Who's raining on the parade? Who's raining on the parade?
Who's raining?
It's NVDA probably, Sharif. This is, yeah. This thing is, see, but when you're in play for so long, you tend to cool down, and NVDA has been going through these cycles. So just wait. The headline, when it was extremely headline sensitive, and then sure enough, now we've just been doing the exact same thing. We're back to where we were at earlier in the year, July of 2025, and then we're just sitting roughly around that neck of the woods. So again, you get that move up into 211. Oh, nope. See you later. We'll go to the low. I thought at this point, we were going to break this, was it 170 level and head into maybe the mid 160s, but that hasn't been the case. You bounce off of the support, and I think this is going to be a really key pivot level right there around 188. If you have the ability to punch through that, maybe you go and test this previous high, and then who knows what can happen. You curl over or you're going to break. So it all depends what's coming out from a catalyst standpoint, in my opinion, to see what we got going on. Amazon slowly starting to recover here as well too, guys. So I remember on Friday, I literally traded every Mag 7 name. Right at the end, the imbalances were insane. Even there was nothing substantial on the mag names. They just went parabolic. Apple, Microsoft, Google. And I was literally in at the lows, and then I'm like, here, let me get out just before the MSCI rebalancing. And sure enough, Microsoft rips like $5, and I had a good amount of shares on that. And I'm like, no, why? But that's all right. We'll figure something else out, and we'll find another trade. Let's head over and take a look at some of the names as considering we're speaking on them right now. Apple, not doing too much here today, guys. Where's my break line here? Is this the 5-minute? Okay, that's not any fun. There's Apple. We'll see what Google's been up to. And then we'll also take a look at Microsoft. A big-time breakout here. Look at this bull flag formed in Google. Consistent higher lows. You punch through that resistance zone, and now you're heading towards the high of the day. So keep an eye out on that specific zone, and that's going to be right at 310. And then Microsoft. What do we got going on here with the big boys? Microsoft not doing too much. We're not overly close to it, but we're not far away. Only 0.5%. Anything can happen with these big names.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. I worked into HXHX over here for a hold at the 10 EMA, but it doesn't quite look like it's done selling off quite yet. I did like this 10 EMA area because it was also a breakout area. I want to say it was around 85 pennies, the breakout area, but it was the whole breakout zone was convoluted by the 955 topping tail inverse hammer candle. I'm talking about this one right there. Kind of puts it puts the breakout area in question. In any event, this thing loses 85 pennies, I'm out. It's that simple. I'm also moving up my stop here on LUNR. It is above 16. It is a holding trend, but I want this one to shadow the 10 EMA, so I've given it to a little bit below the 10 EMA. If it loses that, I'm out. I'm also keeping a close eye here on SIDU. This one, I feel it might be a flat bottom break candidate, and I am a little bit concerned, because it put in a lower high with that 227, I want to say, area high, which is basically where we got in initially. And now it's on its way down, I feel like, to 207s or 2 single digits. And the reason I say that is it's a lower high, and now it's kind of putting in that rounded pattern on the top, where this one could, you know, come into that volume weighted average price area and lose it in a hurry. So we'll keep a close eye on that. HXHX I've already talked about. Men's open. Men's is open now, 745 high. Let's see if that $7 area gets tested as an area of support, or what the situation is. Dropping back down into the fifth of a dollar, is there going to be a buyer who steps in at the seven single digits? The spread is opening up pretty wide, and then it tightens up. So it's very, very volatile, not just in price action, but in the spread. It can be a penny spread, and then it can open up to 11, 15 pennies I saw momentarily. So this one, still a doji candle, a candle of indecision right now, 745 high. Here comes that's getting tested again. Now it's a 749 high. So it looks like the buyers are stepping in. We're going to give this one the old college try. If it loses 7, we're going to get out. What do we get? We got 36s. There comes 7. So it looks like we may get stopped out super quick on this one as it's dropping back down into that 7 area. Joey, I'm going to have to send it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Toss those stops and make sure we get everything organized, because we don't want to be taking any outsized losses just in case we have some solid opportunities that come our way. So thank you, Commodities King, for pointing this one out. There's major liquidity issues here on LAC today. It's not very liquid whatsoever, and I just don't really want to toy around with that, considering sometimes they just don't catch the best fills, and I don't want to get hit on the spread. Even though I'm assuming it's not very wide, it's only a couple of dollar stock. It's a $5 stock. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on a lot of things, guys. I'm running through my scanner, being patient, slightly distracted, as I mentioned, because I think that's good at times. So and just wait for those opportunities where it's like, oh, I have to take that trade, instead of trying to force everything. So that's kind of where my mindset at. I like the quantum space right now. If we can catch any form of a pullback, there's a 5-minute indecision print. Location is key. Location on some of these of these candles, so that's not too bad. But you can take an attempt on this one, but you just want to risk a little bit past this 5-minute low. If it does crack through, wait for some more indecision prints and then find something else that you can potentially take. What's XLF been up to on that? Whoa, financials. All right, not too bad of a look whatsoever. Might be the year of the financials, to be honest with you. So I'm excited to I'm actually.
Joey, I got to cover that.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
The breakout is on right now, guys, on men's. It is really rocketing up here. It's a 782 high. We just flashed 77s. We got 36s on. Men's is him today. I don't know, that's like right on the nose, but we're going to set up now at high 80s. We're going to go 88s, and then we're going to look for a breakout above $8. Showing 64 again. There is a seller here in the mid 60s that we can't shake despite the high of the day being 82. I've got 36s on, so anything below the $0.25 will risk another like 10 pennies or so, just so that we can hold enough to be able to try that $8 area. But anything below the $0.25, I'm gonna flatten out because this one is putting a topping tail candle now on the 5-minute chart. So there is aggressive selling at least coming in towards that $8 area. There is a buyer here at the $0.33. That stepping in to support the price action from dripping down anymore, but there is selling. I want to say in the half. Well, they're selling lower down now, lower than the $0.50. It looks like it is the low to mid 40s, but that person is getting removed at least for now as we try to zig back up there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to remove the subjectivity out of it. We're going to throw in the stop there, Joey. We're going to go 722. If it loses 722, we'll give it a bit more room than I typically would have. And then we'll stop out for the remaining amount there. Well, I'll stop out here because it lost the $0.25. Ugly, ugly topping tail candle, but this could be a bamboozler, right? The reason is I say bamboozler because it's got a higher low and a higher high, even if it is a topping tail candle, an ugly one at that one. We'll have to keep an eye out on this one. I wouldn't mind a $7 retest, and then we can give this one another try. How's my trade on LUNR doing? Well, it's still trending up, by no means with the same velocity or aggression as MENS has. In fact, it just got into my area and it didn't cross as a result of the illiquidity on that name. So LUNR, there it goes right back into 10 again on LUNR, but not taking out that seller at that level. SIDU, I'm still holding the piece here at 23. I'm not holding a piece, I'm holding more than a piece. But I'm looking for continuation here and a holding of the volume weighted average price on SIDU. But men's, doing it live, doing it pretty quick over here, so we're gonna keep an eye out on that. How did I get rinsed so aggressively on HXHX?
Oh,
here, what the hell? You got something?
No, I was gonna say you got it.
I got hit hard there, Joey. I don't understand how I got so much slippage there. I was not supposed to get hit that hard, but
that's the one you put the stop in on.
I did, yeah, I did put it in, but I got some slippage that was no good. Okay, so we're gonna keep an eye out on that.
Spread on it?
It's 1 penny, but I think there was an well, not even 1 penny, less than a penny because it's a sub-$1 name, but we're going to keep an eye on. But there goes LUNR. I packed the patience, LUNR, taking out the high of the day. We got 97s. This one just showed me 17. We're going to have to refill here on LUNR because this one's got the juice to let the price action loose, baby, to the high side, up almost 8% multi-day play. I'll get to that one in a second, Bovin. Just give me a sec. Adam, James, dropping 5 in the chat, Joey.
My boy.
HYMC, Lego, Sharif, Declan Rice, though. Joey, Wagwan, Reed, HYMC, please, gents. Buen dia. That's all you right there. Buen dia desde la playa on Uruguay.
What did
I say there?
He said he's at the beach in Paraguay.
This guy's just stunning on us. He's at the beach, and I'm assuming Uruguay right now is summer, right? Because South America.
Yeah,
so it's their summer. Yeah. So this guy's just dunking on us as hard as he could. Thank you very much, Adam. We're gonna look at HYMC.
Adam, listen, brother, pull up. You're over in that neck of the woods. Well, you're not really that close. Come over to Tulum, brother. We're gonna be there December 27th. To the 1st of January, so pull up, brother. See if you can make it over that way and have some fun.
All right, we have to pause for a second. We're going to go to Adara, but as soon as we get back, we're going to look at HYMC.
Pull up, trap man.
What we're going to do here is take a quick look at crypto. Here is BTC on the daily, finding some support around that 84,000 level, but we haven't really been able to hold that area above 90,000 yet. Our high this morning, 90,005, that did take out that previous level of resistance from last Wednesday, but again, couldn't hold it. So that will be a bit of a level for Bitcoin. I do want to talk about Ethereum though as well. ETH trying to, much like Bitcoin, trying to bounce off of these recent lows. And we do have a story here with BitMine, BMNR, BitMine Immersion, adding 98,852 Ethereum as of last week. That lifts their holdings to more than 4 million Ethereum tokens worth over $12 billion. That's roughly 3.37% of the ETH supply. So, well, MSTR, one of the largest Bitcoin treasury plays, they didn't pick up any Bitcoin in this last week. BMNR did pick up some ETH. So quick treasury update here as we take a look at crypto. We're going to send you back to Sharif and Joe.
There, yeah, Adam, nice, cool for heading over there in January. And Tampanda, yeah, something been happening. Any small caps that pop off are untradeable on Schwab. Time and time again, it just gives you messages. Must go through a broker to buy shares, which I think is kind of weird. But anyways, hey, switch it up if you're not happy with what you got going on. There's plenty of choices out there. Considering we were talking about the space being slightly flooded, let's head back over to our scanner because that's where we are at right now. QUBT, looking at the strong places right now. QBTS continuing to grind a little bit higher, guys. I'm just waiting for something. Robinhood coming in off of that 122.90 level, something, I mean, it's half decently positive. At least it's finding a direction and moving with a little bit of momentum. And there's this indecision print that I was talking about earlier. It seems like this recovery was running on fumes, and now you're starting to see a little bit more of the downward pressure step in on NVDA, guys. So not too bad of a look whatsoever as the market is slowly starting to cool off, and you have the SPY coming off of the highs, and Robinhood is really starting to pick up its momentum to the downside. Now at 122.31. FJET, I still have my eyes on that one. Let's kind of get rid of this 1 minute time frame. Too much data right now. What's the word I'm looking for when you have too much information, Sharif?
Analysis paralysis.
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's kind of what I got going on there. It's like, no, but I was just looking at all these 1 minute prints. The market's pretty cool, man. I think that's going to be the narrative for this week. We have today, tomorrow, and then a half day on Friday. And then after that, it's pretty much, hey, what's going on in the New Year's a couple of days after, obviously, the holidays. And then we start a brand new year. So looking forward to that for sure. What's Rivian? One of the hotter names. What have you been up to today? Not too much, Sharif. It's sideways. Wow, a lot of sideways price action here in the overall market, guys. DJT as well, coming off of those highs, not looking to go down to 1485 in DJT. Let's head over to the 30-minute. Ooh, so whatever pump you were getting on Friday, you gave up the majority of that move right there, guys, and heading more towards some Wednesday or Thursday lows. So keep an eye out on that. BMNR starting to come in as well too. I mentioned 35 as a potential target leading into the new year, so keep an eye on BMNR. What's the daily saying? You're bouncing off of these lows. This indecision print is still holding up on a lot of the names. What's MSTR? We'll take a look at Mike. Not too much, brother. It's right back towards those lows, but you still have that 155 level holding up relatively well, guys. So keep an eye out on MSTR and IBIT for the recovery, as Bitcoin has yet to crack that low of around $80,000, still holding up relatively well. You have that gap up here earlier in the morning, but the majority of the names are starting to fill that, Sharif. So with that being said,
yes, sir,
I'm going to keep my eyes on Robinhood and some of the stronger names like the overall market as well too.
There goes MENS. Men's is, yo, bro, it's killing it.
Brava.
It's killing it today, Joey. We picked it up again off that $7 area defend. It is now a triple dang bottom on that $7 area. There is an aggressive, highly motivated, highly funded $7.
Highly funded. Yeah,
You're
yo, bro,
today, bro.
You switched up that auto deposit yet? You switched to auto deposit yet, or what,
This guy. You know how many people complain about that,
yeah,
Joey?
Bro,
they constantly complain.
Yeah, like, come on, man. Like, that's it's like 15 years ago, man.
Fabian,
you switch that up.
Fabian, you have auto deposit set up on your direct, or sorry, your e-transfer, or do you require a password?
I have auto deposit.
He has auto deposit.
Like a sane person.
If we go across the board, I bet you the majority of them.
Ram. You have auto deposit set up on your e-transfer, or do you require a password? I'm the only
Yeah. Bro, I'm telling you, man.
I don't know why.
Dude, I'm like filling in all the criteria, and then it's like password, rewrite the password. I was
bro.
I was gonna charge you a $10 fee for
wow, this guy
for all the extra work.
Who do you think
man.
you are,
That's
Amazon,
crazy.
bro?
Yeah, man. Hey, man.
No, but let's look at HYMC here. The answer was, come on, Hypercube, let's go, bro. Let's look at HYMC because it's on a rampage to the high side here with a great $26, I want to say 26.10 HOD. It's up 57%. So shout out to Adam for pointing this one out. For anybody who doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about, e-transfer is like our Venmo, okay, or Cash App, right? So if I want to send Joey some money, I owe him a couple of bucks, I just use his email. I go into my banking app, I put in his email, I put in the amount of money I want to send him. In like 10, 20 seconds, it's in his account. But you can actually accept it without a password, and then other ones, there's a secret or a phrase and a secret password. So I still have that set up, and that annoys a lot of people because they have to take more steps when they're sending you money. So I think I just kept it. They also have to let you know what the password is, which is the point, right, Fabian? Because if you're buying something off someone and you want to send them to show them that you're good intention, you're sending them the money, but you haven't quite verified if the product is there yet, then you don't give them the password till you get it. But so there's that two-stage process.
You know,
in any event, let's. I'm sorry for digressing. HYMC looks fantastic. It's almost a quadruple bottom off that volume weighted average price right around 23.50, and then that was as good as the bears were going to do, and now it feels like we're putting a bit of a cup and handle pattern. We get that rounded shape, and now we're getting a 5-bar consolidation south of 26. So that tells us a couple of things. One, this stock is respecting the 10 EMA on the 5. Two, $26 is a key area of technical resistance, meaning if we clear it, we may be able to look at it as a key area of technical support. 3, this is respecting the volume weighted average price. And 4, we have a very, very clear pattern here, which is the cup and handle. So that can kind of help us formulate how to trade it. For example, you can pick it up towards the low end of the consolidation component of the cup and handle. So I'm loving how this is looking right now. It's a bit more expensive for all my small cap traders out there. This was only $16.50 when all was said and done on Friday afternoon. But as you can see, it's up 57 and change. And that has it knocking on the door of 26 bucks. Men's is absolutely collapsing to the downside. I'm pleased as freaking punch over here, having taken out almost the high of the day. In fact, I think I have 82s, and that's the high of the day. So that feels good. That's a real top wick for now. In any event, it is halted to the downside at one of my favorite levels, $6.69, Joey. Having halted 11:37.56, the earliest this will be open is 11:42.56. So let's be on the lookout here for our very good friend, MENS. We're going to be doing it live on this one. Shout out to the OG Bovin. He's calling FJET. I've already got a trading screen up here for FJET Bovin. It's not bad. I've seen it widespread. Now it's opening up to 9 pennies. I've seen it wider. I've seen it as wide as 25. Now it's maintaining that 9 penny spread. There's 10. So be on the lookout for this one. It's fantastic. It's very strong. It's very directional, but it has a tendency to open up the spread, and that can get you into some trouble if it starts going against you, because getting out would definitely cost you a little bit more than you had planned. Last but not least here, Joey, I've been holding SIDU for a hot minute. I've built my position in on this one. I've got the lower end of the range. It's either going to hold VWAP here or I'm going to take a hit on this one. It is really that simple. I will not be adding any more into this one. I will, though, however, with a better cost basis, be able to take some profit here, a little bit more south than where I had planned initially. I was looking at taking it at 29. Now we'll wet the beak here, if possible, at 24. So we're going to keep an eye here on SIDU. It's up 89%, going on 90, and was up over 100. LUNR, I didn't add. I was busy with MENS. This one pulls into the 10 EMA on the 5, loses 16 momentarily, and there it goes again. Respecting the 10 EMA, continuing to put in that upward channel. We're going to give this one a quick try here to get some more. And then HXHX is going to is going to haunt me at night, Joey. This was a mistake on my part here. I shouldn't have been losing this much on such a shitty stock, but now it's on Uncle Sheriff's shit list. And pissing me off. Travman for real. Sharif, can you take a look at PRPH and HXHX? Well, HXHX I have strong feelings about, and I'm going to let that one go, but we're going to look here at PRPH. Stop, PRPH. What is this, dude? Is this an IPO? No, it's not. It just wasn't loading my chart. So I don't like PRPH, brother. I realize here that it is up about 5.5% on the day, but you know, it's very consolidative and not really, it's without pattern. It lacks a pattern here. It popped up to $1.16, it dropped back down to 80 pennies, and now it finds itself at around 95 pennies. If I really had to press Travman, I would be trading HXHX over that one, certainly, because this one definitely has some higher lows and higher highs that you can gauge and you can trade off that. Don't trade it like I did. I was a little bit too aggressive with that one, and that one made me pay. I gotta digress here though, because FJET is now him. It's taken the title of him away from MENS. There goes FJET into the high. It's a 1480 high. It's at the high as we speak, and it's breaking out, and it's awfully respectful of the moving averages on the 5-minute chart, most notably, of course, that 10 EMA, which will always be the green line on my black charts there. Look at that clean hold, whether you're looking earlier on in the more liquid time of the day from 9:50 to the breakout there at 10:25. It was a clean hold of the 10. You got another double bottom at 11:05 into the 10. You got another 10 pullback at 11:35. All of them held. So if you guys had the compunction to punch in there, you're obviously printing up multiple storms. And this one has now overtaken MENS as a leading gapper in the market, overtaking HXHX as well, which pulled back a little bit below its area highs, Joey. So FJET should be in focus here for the small cap traders.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We caught a horrible fill there. I actually went marketable limit instead of posting up by accident. So we get that 26 level at 122. I mean, I meant to type something else and then I just hit the enter button by accident. So there it is, guys. A nice move. I don't mind adding a little bit. I'm in really small right here, and I would prefer to catch the lower end of the range. A nice 1-minute indecision print. If not, I'm going to have to hold the current position, in which I have, to 2280s. So we'll be sitting in this one for quite some time. If the market wants to continue its slow move higher, then I'm okay with that. Tesla was definitely the missed opportunity of the day, considering I only took one trade on it, and we hit a 3-to-1, but I did get stopped out of the majority of the position, and then I never got back in. And I'm like, you know what? This was the print. This is something that I wanted to get involved with. You could post up at 2260s, and then sure enough, you'd be nicely ITM right now, but that's not necessarily the case. So that's why we're on the hunt. We're trying to find some high quality setups, and we're being patient. Like, I mean, this is my first entry, I think, since we started the show. We've been on this for 43 minutes roughly, so I'm totally happy with how we're currently executing right now, sitting on our hands and waiting for some primetime opportunities. Now, as for Robinhood, why am I involved in this? I think buyers step into it quite often. Regardless if it works or not, I believe I'm just putting myself in the right place at the right time. We'll let the market talk the rest, but a nice indecision print off of this pullback. And one thing, worst case scenario, I think, is that if you fail to construct a lower high, I prefer if it wasn't all the way down here, but anywhere around this neck of the woods, maybe 122.60, even though I do have a primary target of around 122.80, just using the same risk to reward. I mean, we're in at 26s, and I'm not proving wrong 30 cents, so I would prefer to give this one a 1.5 or a 2-to-1 if we have the opportunity to do so.
Have you looked at IONQ, Joey? Because it's
Is it really?
IONQ,
is it? Yeah, I mean the quantum space. Yeah, the quantum.
I know you were looking at those earlier,
yeah, the quantum space is moving. Yeah, so there goes these bad boys as Robinhood is starting to come back in. So if you're looking for relative strength, man, just keep an eye out on the quantum space. This hammer candle holding up like a prime time print there, guys, and you can see that we open up kind of at the top end of the range, and now you're off to the races. This is going to be a key pivot level, so keep an eye out on 55.74 just in case we slowly start to curl over there. But yeah, and then also Commodity Kings pointed out Quad U.
I like that name.
Yeah, Commodity King. Yeah, I like that one too. There's a breakout here in Quad U. We'll head over to the 15-minute time frame and see what we got as we head towards those pre-market highs. And you can see we have a little bit of a resistance system forming at that 1560 level. And I think at this pace, you're going to head towards it. Look how the price of the stock reacts around those specific zones, and then you can base something off of that. But here comes Robinhood right back in. Not that 5-minute or that 1-minute print not holding up necessarily how we want to, but that's okay. If we catch that fill at 22s, we'll be out at the low of the day. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. I like the opportunity that Robinhood is presenting right now. So we'll stick to our guns and we'll stick to our thesis. As Sharif said earlier in the day, he's just going to remove the subjectivity of some of the trading and just put in your orders and wait for those opportunities to either go one way or the other. And obviously, we want them to go in our favor. RGTI going strong as well, too. Mentioned Scott H. Yeah, brother, the quantum space definitely in play for today. That means I'm going to be looking at it even tomorrow as well, too. SLV getting a nice little pop. Gorb, I know you were mentioning that you're hopping in that name, so nice work there, brother. We like seeing that stuff. But let's go Robinhood. Do I post up at 122.10s? Maybe see if we can catch a fill there, double up our size for that move back into the volume-weighted average price. Now I'm starting to get a little excited here, Sharif, as we are starting to slowly rock and roll. SLV, I think, is a solid trade. Guys, it's been on such a monstrous run, and you just want to find those areas of strength, and I think the commodities are most definitely rock and roll. And there goes Robinhood. Whoa, FJET continuing to climb higher, Sharif. What do you got going on?
Bro, you can't even punch into this thing, bro. I mean, it's not even giving you any pullback.
Yeah.
The madness is like full-fledged at the moment here. I keep trying to look for micro pullbacks to get in on the jet, but I just got a song in my head. FJET over here is going buck wild, but take a look at those last two letters after the T, after the period there, .am, right away. It's under investigation. It is under suspicion. Anything in my submission to you guys trading on the MX has to be under suspicion immediately, okay? I've seen far too many bamboozling names, especially in the world of small cap gappers, trade on the MX, and then they flip the script on you in a hurry. It doesn't look like FJET is a script flipper at the moment because it just keeps respecting trend, especially the 10 EMA. I mean, it just doesn't breach it, but it's getting a little extended away from the 10 EMA, which is actually about 13 3/4. The high of the day that this thing just printed is 16.10. So I need a bit of a pullback now to even think about getting back in. Make FJET Nasdaq again, says Ozan. Yeah, habitual script flipper, says Trav, man. I like the Chappelle references there. Neil, you have to listen to there's a new Chappelle stand-up. Obviously, it's not something that we can repeat on the show, but you have to listen to some of I think it was like from the last few weeks, Neil, so you're going to have to update yourself on that one because it's amazing. But shout out to Chappelle. Man, he's getting old a little bit, but I love him, man. He's still the same, like, his style is like the stories, the fake stories, not the observational stuff. But I love it. You love that new one too, Jacques, eh? Yeah, it's he's definitely not politically correct. So anybody out there who gets offended quite easily, you probably should skip this one. But he makes me chuckle.
Enough of the offended.
Well, you know what, Joey? There's people out there, okay? Or they're going to let them be. There goes FJET again, man. 623 high. This is really going. Every time I look, it's picking up higher lows. One way I've tried to use lately, and I haven't been doing it as much, is to try to gauge support and resistance off the 5-second chart to kind of just see where the local buyers and the local sellers are stepping in on a micro time frame. I didn't quite do that here, but there does look like there is buying at the lows there at 15.75. The buyer stepped in quite aggressively. Here comes 16. Does 16 hold now after having been cleared by 48 pennies? The script can flip on this one in a second, and there it goes below 16. So if you were using 16 as an area of support and resistance, you likely got stopped out. But there is buying also in the mid-90s, but that is giving it up in a hurry. Interesting here. You don't typically see buyers at almost every level, but that's what you're seeing here on FJET. The buyers are kind of, okay, well, just as I say that, the buyers got decimated and down it goes into 15, topping till candle, but it holds 15, at least for the moment. So FJET, guys, should be in focus here. Let's see if we can set up a little bit better. I see $14 as the breakout area because there was a triple top there. I also see the 10 EMA and the 5, which currently shows 13 2/3, but you never really know where that's going to be when the price action comes down to it. Of course, it is dynamic level. So FJET in focus. How's my SIDU trade? Okay, we're finally taking prints here on the DO. We're going to take out some more. As this one, you know, we definitely got into some trouble initially on this one, but we're doing it live. We're taking prints, and we're looking for a price spike up above a third of a buck. Bovin says on FJET, he's liking 15 here as the dip buy, and quite frankly, Bovin, for the moment, you're right, 15.10, prior bar low. Current bar low, 15.41. You got a $0.50 buyer now. Let's see how long he's in it. He's going to be able to be in play before he gets taken out, if he gets taken out. But FJET should be in focus for you if you are small cap gapper inclined.
All right, small cap gapper inclined. Not so much. All right, there goes IONQ, guys, continuing to climb higher. I mean, hey, it is what it is, guys. It's so hard to get involved with this. You don't want to be buying the top, but it's just continuously grinding and grinding. So keep an eye out on that. Nice 1 minute print sitting on the top end of the range here on Robinhood. Let's see if this candle is going to come out, formulate for us, and then we can break through kind of the supply zone that we're experiencing right here through the 12s and make that push for the volume weighted average price, because that's going to be our primary target. Doesn't look like we're going to catch that 122 fill, and I don't really want it at this point, considering if it does slowly curl over, I think the momentum will most definitely step into the downside, and then that's just the fill you don't necessarily want, trying to catch a falling knife. So we'll keep our eyes on a lot of things right now. There were some indecision prints on Tesla that were saying, hey, might be a potential short, but doesn't seem to be the case as we bounce right back here in TSLA, heading towards the top end of this pivot range. But what we can see here, and this is what I'm thinking essentially, is that look at these indecision prints right there above the volume weighted average price. You have buyers push price all the way up to 493.64 and then 493.58, and then sure enough, sellers close these as doji candles. So you have the inverted or the shooting star and whatever you would like to call it, right around these neck of the woods as we are slowly starting to climb a little bit higher. But that 5 minute print, not too bad whatsoever. I would like to see some more selling pressure on that front.
More selling.
He's not selling right now. And so there's just some names that I personally don't short right now, and also TSLL isn't. I have to order shorts for that, which is kind of annoying. But hey, it is what it is. 122.20 seems to be that supply zone right now. We're bouncing off of that continuously here in Robinhood. We're not going anywhere right now, guys. So essentially, since I've been in this trade, we've been trading within this 20 cents range. So that's been a lot of fun sitting in this chop, obviously being sarcastic. But Scott H, RGTI, big call sweep sending in. This one's back to 30. Get on the train, bro, says Scott H. All right, bro. I'll hop in on that one. That was meant for Joe as well, says Crouching Tiger Hidden Rally. What did you say? I didn't see what you said, brother. So post it in the chat one more time. See Sharif sitting in the chat as well, too. BBAI are some commodities king giving me all the hot picks of today. Let's see if he's living up to his word with BBAI. And he sure is, Sharif. A nice move in Big Bear AI. Sean will like this one. I don't know if he's still involved with it, but a nice volume weighted average price bounce, forming that bull flag, and then now you are absolutely off to the races. And someone who can't stop, won't stop right now is IONQ. Ionic continuing to climb higher, guys. $55 and change. Let's see what some of the other quantum names are up to. Rigetti, what in the days is going on over here? QBTS, what are you doing?
What's he doing?
Back towards the high of the day. This is insane. QUBT probably doing the same thing. Who's the worst performer?
Why is quantum running?
I don't know, brother. Why is it?
I don't know.
All right. So
I didn't see anything on quantum in the morning.
Maybe a technical standpoint. I don't know, man. But this is a strong, strong rally. What the hell is KTOS doing? I don't know. Let's find out and see what we got going on. I see a lot of people tagging my name, tagging me in there, so we're just gonna run through all of those as I sit in this chop fest in Robinhood. So that's a lot of fun. Well, we got the quantum space continuing to climb higher. What else do we got? KTOS not liquid enough for me. Kratos Defense and Security. Okay, I see what you got going on. Was just saying, hope you have a great holiday season. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. You as well. I hope you enjoyed time with the family. I got to see a lot this weekend. My siblings were over on Friday for the Jake Paul fight, mainly my brothers. We've got the arm wrestles going. I went undefeated, 5-0, beat every single one of them. I told them, don't come around my place of the woods because you will get your butt whooped.
I like that. I like that. You got to reestablish order.
Yeah.
Every time you see
all of them,
you need to reinforce.
Don't forget who the big dog is around here.
You got to remind them, Joey.
Exactly. I have to remind every single one of them. No, I was beating them with my left and my right. It didn't even really matter. One of my younger brothers, he's like 6'2". He's left-handed. I said, no problem. What kind of smoke do you want? You can get
what kind of smoke do you want?
Any which way you can get it. And I was just beating every single one of them. It doesn't even matter at the end of the day. So yeah, no, double like now. Thank you very much for that, Trapman 400. As BBI is continuing to climb, NVDA breaking down, guys, heading towards a key neckline. Keep an eye out on this. And there goes Robinhood giving up the gab right now, heading lower, forming that shelf, breaking into that 122 level. I wouldn't be surprised if we catch that fill. I don't even know if I want it at this point. So keep an eye out on Robinhood. I'll take a stop out at 129.90s or maybe 85s. I'll give it there, Sharif.
All right, guys, here we go. There goes SIDU, guys, SIDU. Well, I don't want to say it's him because FJET certainly is still leading the way over here after that $15 dip and pop. It's back above 15, but SIDU, we got 11s on. We just wet the beak at 36. So SIDU, what a hold, a clean hold off the volume weighted average price, and there was no bamboozlement on this one. You just needed to pack your patience because if you did, and you basically saw that this one had not breached VWAP and you placed your stop even strictly below that volume weighted average price, you didn't get stopped out. Now this one, it was confusing me a little bit in the sense that I didn't really know if it was respecting the 10 EMA or VWAP, but on ex post facto analysis, you can clearly see, especially after 1050 onwards, it was more VWAP certainly than the 10 EMA. In fact, the 10 EMA looks more like a line of best fit than any area of support or resistance. So SIDU looking real freaking good over here. Let's see if it can work its way back into that $0.50. It is technically still, even though, I'm singing this one's praise, it's lower high, and yet another lower high. So if you're looking for high day breaches, we have multiple area highs to retake before we really do have a shot at that 250. Who knows, though? It's up 100%, so it's going to be getting a lot of people's attention. This one, though, HXHX. This is my only negative one on the day, okay? I mean, we're 3 for 4 to start, but we've got another 2 hours, so that could all change. HXHX I'm negative on. And the reason I'm negative on this one is because I didn't give it enough room, okay? I was insisting on a 10 EMA hold. I don't know why. That's not what the price action had been showing me or, leaning towards. I should have been holding up at 80. 80 was clearly a breakout level. I saw that when it had 3-4 bottoming tail candles, all of which defended off 80. That should have been my clue. I was clueless and I didn't take it. In any event, it is now going without me to the tune of 93 pennies. So 13 pennies on a 90 penny name off this area, key area, I want to say, of technical support. And this one could be back above a buck before you know it. That is the good news. The bad news is you need to watch out for a couple of things. One, the $1 area, it's a different trade. Once it gets into that dollar area, it can find resistance whether or not it's been above it on the day. Two, it is still technically lower highs, even though it's been catching a nice little bid there. It is a 105 high. We're showing 93, so we need to be alive to the lower highs because that could be the operative trend. Look at this one go. It just took out prior bar high. It's got a higher low. Look at this one go. The breakout is on right now, at least into that $1 area on HXHX. Looking fantastic here. Neil pointed this one out to me in the chat earlier, up 181%. And since that bell rang, it wasn't just all pre-market action for this bad boy. Since the bell rang on HXHX, it's up 88%. So that's from 9:30 onwards. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on that one. We're going to have to keep an eye on MENS because that one is straddling VWAP now for almost 20 minutes. And FJET, we can't disrespect FJET. This one is an absolute rocket ship, but you're going to have to trade it using sound risk management skills because it's on the Amex exchange and that can flip the script on you quickly. Also, it's very volatile and the selling can come in at any time. I haven't been doing this lately, and I really want to start getting back into it to give you like the details on the names. And just as I come to do that, Joey, it's embarrassing me over here because I have nothing here on FJET because it's a newer one. So I was going to give you guys the float and everything like that on FJET, but sadly I don't have it. I'll see if Perplexity has something, and I'll bring that to you guys later. There goes HXHX, Fabian. It is back above the dollar on real. It is now about it's about 3 pennies below the high of the day into that 102 area. HOD is 105. A fantastic clearing and holding. And this is not the type of stonk I should be negative on the day. It's a clean hold. This is, even if I'm positive on the day, it's going to bug me that I'm negative on this one because I should be positive. It's such a clean area hold at 80 pennies. I screwed it up. Hopefully we'll get to have another trade on it and make up for that L. For the moment, though, we're going to pause. We're sending you to the big desk with a dare.
Time to talk about what's happening now and what's going to be happening later today. I mean, certainly nice start to the Santa Claus rally week, if you will, for the S&P 500. This is near, or just trying to break right now, intraday highs around 685. We did some positive news out of NVIDIA to give a nice jolt to the markets to the upside. Reuters reporting that NVIDIA is planning on starting to ship roughly 40,000 to 80,000 H200 AI chips to China for mid-February 2026, or the Lunar New Year. Now, coming later today, we are going to be getting a shipbuilding announcement from Trump and Pete Hegseth, who is, of course, the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War. That's going to be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, so stay tuned. HII, Huntington, actually trading higher in anticipation. I want to talk about this infographic here, brand new and X at TTV Research, on the Santa Claus rally. So for the last 6 years, from 2019 all the way to 2024, basically looked at the performance in the holiday shortened week around Christmas for the market, specifically the SPY and the Nasdaq. We did have 1 year where we certainly had that quote-unquote Santa Claus rally in 2021, but other than that, it's been kind of flat. So worth noting, the Santa Claus rally might not be as clear-cut as it appears to be, or as it's, I think been mythologized. I also want to talk here about GLD, because GLD certainly is rallying without a doubt here. Gold and silver strong here in the end of the year as we do get these safe haven plays back in focus, though gold certainly outperforming silver. IONQ and these quantum names, we're holding up really well. Bit of a drip right now in IONQ. No news that I could find for this space, but keep an eye on them. They're all very strong today. Before we send you back to Neil and his lesson of the day, we're going to take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics, because concussions demand fast solutions. And NYSE-listed Origenics, or OGEN, is developing one designed to reach the brain quickly and non-invasively. Learn more by scheduling a meeting today. Thank you to our friends at OGEN, and thank you to Neil and his lesson of the day. Neil, give the people the lesson.
Thank you, Adara. So, you know what? We've talked about bias before. Having a bias in the market sometimes can be a tricky thing. Maybe you don't want to be married to the market moving one way or another, but you want to have a bias in individual stock. Well, there is one thing that you can look at, specifically on a day like today, where we come in and we're gapping up. Now, we're gapping up in the Nasdaq, and as you can see from the open, you basically just headed down. In the ES, we're gapped up, and then that headed higher. The Russell gapped up and then headed higher. But when you see all three of the markets, or pretty much all of the market gap to the upside, it does give you an opportunity to observe something which can at least give you a bias of direction one way or another. When we're and it's pretty simple. I'll use Amazon as the first example of this. Gapped higher on the ES, you can clearly see resistance, like multi-day resistance all week on the ES at pretty much the same level, underneath 69. You're also going to have resistance on the Nasdaq around 25.5. On Amazon, what did we see? Yeah, you had some resistance on Thursday and Friday. When we came in, we were underneath. So the market was gapped higher, and it was not. So when the market breaks the lows, the first thing that happens is we fail a top on Amazon. Now, I'm not saying you're just automatically jumping short, but if you're looking for something to favor short, this had not gapped higher with the market. And what happens when it bounced? You could play continuation short here because it's trend down. You've got some overhead resistance on Amazon. There's a lot that works out in your favor. Apple would be another example. The market had gapped higher. Apple had not gapped higher. And the thing about this, when I was looking at some of the names that I didn't go short in, because ultimately this happens, where you might come into a day biased one direction. Like maybe I like certain setups and certain stocks, and I didn't get the dip buys, or didn't get the pop and fade that you want. But I always find myself wanting to play something in either direction, meaning there has to be something that I like for a short, or there should be something that I like for a long and even a weekday. And oftentimes that's something you look for as a trader. And I saw this pattern and I was like, what am I even thinking? There were plenty of stocks that didn't gap with the market that showed you that last week's resistance that we gapped through was still valid for a short. Should be short those types of names. And to me, it actually started with, I mean, it always kind of starts with Intel. The most egregious one for myself was this one. And the reason why it's so egregious for me is, well, what do I usually do when Intel's trending down like this? Look for short Intel every single day. Now, you don't always win, but when a stock does this, you're going to win more than you lose. Well, I mean, if you have any kind of a reasonable trading strategy, you're going to win more than you lose when it's trending down. And what did this stock present me with when everything else was gapped up and breaking those resistance levels? It was not. You had the same resistance all week. It was at the level. And what's crazy about it is it did a false break at the open. Where's your first available bounce? You just join the part. It's still making lows. And this is the thing about relative strength or weakness. Here's the Nasdaq. There's the Nasdaq bouncing off the lows. There's Intel refusing to go with it. So it's not such a ridiculous, oh my goodness, look at this secret sauce that I'm telling you. That's not utter nonsense. It's not. It's actually relatively simple. If you have the market gapping up or down, and you're a trader that's looking for some relative strength or weakness, just to have an individual bias on some stocks, where I like this stock short, I think this stock is relatively strong, simply look at what did or did not gap with it. That usually is following the market. And when you do that, some things are going to stand out. And then when you're sitting there waiting for a bunch of longs that don't set up, you might find some shorts on a day like today. So I learned something. I should have been obviously I should have been short Intel today. There's no question about that. But it's the why. Like when I look back, okay, well, why wasn't I short? And how could I have easily been biased that direction? Simple. Did it gap with the market? If no, do you find a setup? If yes, now you got something in the other direction. If the market doesn't do what you're expecting on a strong day, I mean, the Nasdaq's still up 0.5%, but it trended down. So you wanted to have some things you thought were relatively weak. There's a good way to find them. That's your lesson of the day, everybody. I would tell you how the shawarma is, but I haven't even cracked it open yet. But hopefully it's delicious because I'm looking forward to it. And enjoy the midday. Good luck on all of your trades. And ooh, Bitcoin cannot hold that bid.
Yeah,
Coin, bro, the coin, man. It's a little above 90, Joey, a little bit below 90.
Be prepared for probably like 6 to 8 months of this.
6 to 8 months.
Yeah, I'm thinking something along those lines. We probably won't even see a new all-time high in Bitcoin. I hope that I eat my words, right? But I don't think we see something until maybe late next year of all-time highs.
One of the most underreported story of the year about Bitcoin is the fact that it hit 125,000 on your birthday, not mine.
Yeah, yeah.
You think I'm ever going to recover from that?
Yeah, well, you just did.
I'm never going to recover.
You did.
Mentally, not financially.
Yeah. I mean,
like, what are the freaking
Well,
odds?
I would rather recover financially than...
Joey, it's the odds. What are the odds of that?
I know.
Placing a bet and then it hits on your birthday instead of mine.
It just shows that we're in sync, you know what I mean? So I know what I'm going on.
I think it likes you more than it likes me.
Yeah, so
clearly.
So listen to my my Bitcoin predictions, maybe, I don't know. We took a little bit more off on IONQ, guys. We got a nice little pop there. Nice hammer candle right after that pullback. One of the stronger names, so I liked our chances on this specific trade. Let's see if we can break instead of coming back to our break even look like it's looking like it wants to be honest with you. So we'll have to get out at 70s if it does pull back to there. We do have a little bit, actually there's not even a spread, it's just a NYSE name, but really fluctuating here today and not really continuing to the top side like I would like it to. Okay, there we go, nice little pop. Guys agree, yeah, eat those words, Joe, says Trapman. Ow, brother. Thought we were brother. No, I honestly, yeah, I mean, I feel no way, man. I'm just trying to call it how it is. We've seen it before, and obviously when the first couple of months within inception of
IBIT. You can tell immediately
IBIT.
who's on the ones and twos when you see that kind of stuff. Immediately, I look over, I see her. I'm like, oh, of course, makes sense.
What?
Ram, you know?
Oh,
she's
yeah, she
trolling
did.
you,
She,
Joey.
that's all
what she
right.
does.
I know,
She gets on the
well, I
ones
know
and
she's a
twos. She's
proud
got to
owner
do it
of-
right away.
She's a proud owner of IBIT as well, too. So.
Ram, what's your cost basis on IBIT? Like, what's your average price? So if you bought, like, say, a few times, some at 40, some at 45, what's your average price?
It's bad.
Are you talking so that everybody can hear?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
It's bad. I had bought it at 64. Obviously, that went to shit. And then I sold it, and I haven't bought it. I think I'm waiting it for Bitcoin to go to like 75 or 76, and then I'll buy again.
Nice.
I
Smart. I love that. I love how you have a plan. That's fantastic. I love you. I didn't think that you were going to give me such a structured response. Shout out to you, Ram.
I didn't catch any of it.
Well, she already bought some and she wants to pick up some. What was your price again that you want to pick some at?
If Bitcoin goes down to like 76 or 75.
If it goes down to 76 and tests that key area of technical support, Joey, she's going to be picking up more.
Right,
I love how
cool.
you're thinking that you're buying at technical areas. Fantastic. Thank you for that response, Ram. The people want to know. But you know what I'm going to say, Joey?
What's that, man?
There goes SIDU into the 44 penny high. Now it is a triple top at this local area high, having gone up there at the 12 o'clock time slot, 12:45 top. I'm talking about the 12:05 bar, 2:45 top, the 12:10 bar, 2:45 top. There is a seller at 45s, but what is operative, in my opinion, are the higher lows. Run for your life, short seller on SIDU. They're coming for you, baby. Here comes 45 again. He's winning for now, but I don't know if he's going to continue winning. We got 11s on. We've been wetting the beak, pardon me, on SIDU into this local area high, and I'm very interested in getting more on that $0.5 break. SIDU looking real good over here. There's 45 again. There is big boy size at the 45 penny level on almost every gateway. I'm seeing high triple digits, 700 lots, 800 lots on multiple gateways. We'll have to see if that can get broken through. So that's number one. I know Joey's going to mention something in a second, but Ram, I want to show them FJET. FJET looking real good here as well. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lower highs in a row. Alas, it is coming in to that 14.5 area that we talked about. Why is that area important? Well, it's the the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. The prior candle at 12:05 held that 10 EMA. This current candle is holding the 10 EMA, and what's even better is it has a higher low. Not yet, of course, a higher high, but a higher low nonetheless. I'm talking about FJET. Up a light and easy and not such a big deal, 121%. Be on the lookout for continuation here and a move above 16.5, 1648 is the high of the day. HXHX, my only negative one on the day, did move down after retouching that 105 area, but lo and behold, it is holding 80 pennies again. I'm not going to make the same mistake this time. We're going to get in here. We're going to give it a little bit of room south of 80. That way, if I get stop hunted, we don't, if for below that 80 penny print, we don't get stopped out. And hopefully we can ride this one back into the 90s or even better, continuation through $1. So HXHX, we're back into that one. We're still holding a few pieces here on my very good friend SIDU, but it has to clear that $0.5 for me to continue to take profits there. So that's what I'm looking at, Joey. We're back into HXHX and we're still holding SIDU.
All right, yeah, this is stuff that just can make me lose my mind at sometimes, and it just drives me completely nuts.
What happened, Joey?
Get stopped out, break even, and then sure enough, it takes an additional leg higher. So the pullbacks really, really piss me off. But that's all right. We'll try to figure something else out and find another opportunity. When I get in this mode, it's not good. It's best for me to not trade because as IONQ continues to climb a little bit higher, so I'll be looking at something else and see if we can find something, another quality opportunity. I'm not going to be trading NVDA, so I'll take that thing off of my chart. Just not in sync with that stock. BBAI looking half decent, so I want to go to find where there's strength. That's going to be the quantum space. IONQ had a prime time setup. We take a little bit off at a 2-to-1, and then sure enough, leave some for a runner, pulls back, comes against us, and then now puts in a new high. So, and now you haven't even experienced the pullback. So yeah, that's what it is. We'll move on, look for the next opportunity, see if there is any, which there will be plenty throughout the session.
Bang.
What's Google been up to? Yeah, Google not doing too much as I guess I shouldn't say that. It is roughly around the high of the day, so that's not too bad of a look. Pre-market high, or I guess the opening print high, 309.93. You're trading at 309.24 as that continues to go. I got to get IONQ off my chart. None of the other quantum names are really attractive to me right now. Let's see, this one's on the Nasdaq. Load the chart, thank you. Yeah, so that's what I have going on. We'll take a look at our scanner as well, considering, but this is a prime time print. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Maybe I'll just hold it a little bit longer next time, and instead of taking some out and then getting stopped out on this pullback that essentially doesn't even show on this chart, but it shows on the P Pro A chart, which is, I don't know, a joke. But anyways, IONQ, boom, nice move there as you go and test this previous high of the day. Let's see what we got going on. BITO, this is more or less a dividend play. It's not an intraday trader, so keep an eye out on that. Palantir, breaking out here. You sit on top of this range, but now you're starting to come back in a little bit here or there, guys. So not too good of a look in Palantir this morning. SPY, INTC, still bleeding, surprisingly. I mean, the chip space is relatively weak, so keep an eye out on that. Apple, 1 minute time frame. What do you have going on? Show me some indices. Yes, okay. This is exactly what, was that loud? Was that loud or what?
No,
this is exactly what. This is exactly what I'm looking for here on AAPL. We're going to wait for this pullback, guys. This is going to be the next victim of Joey O. See if we can get a nice move here higher in AAPL. We're going to wait for this pullback to finish as soon as the stock starts to turn around. Unless we break the lower end of this candle, I'm going to have to be some more patient. Boom, and there it goes. Glad we didn't punch right into that as IONQ is now right at the high of the day. We have QBTS now putting in a new high of the day as well. So, yeah, that's a missed opportunity. Hold on a little bit longer, but I like this aggressive selling. You can see the volume starting to pick up on the lower time frames. And if we form another indecision print at these lows, I'm going to be keeping my eyes on AAPL for a potential bounce. Let's head over to the daily to see where we are. See, it might be tight, guys. This isn't telling me breakout or anything along those lines. So if we are going to hop into this, look for a small move to the top side, and then we might have to get out of that one. QBTS and IONQ starting to form some indecision prints at the highs. Okay, it just breaks through that, so avoid that at all costs. If it continuously breaks through your signals, that's just can determine, hey, we're in a relatively strong name. But as for Apple, we got to take 100% of the shot. Well, I mean, that's not what I was trying to say. You got to take 100% of the shots. Otherwise, you're going to miss them all. So 70% of the time, it works all the time. Sharif, if you know what that movie's from.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, it's all right. So we'll post up here on AAPL to see if we can catch a fill here, guys.
You know what made all-time highs today? You want to take a guess? I think you're already going to know, but I'm going to let you guess anyway.
Can you give me a clue?
You don't need a clue.
American Eagle?
No. It's not about me.
No, I have no idea then.
It's one that's been knocking on the door for a while, Joey. We talk about it constantly. TSL freaking A.
Oh, Tesla. All right, there we go. Tesla.
All-time highs, guy. 498.83. I do believe that is intraday. Or even, let me just double check on the 4 hour here that we haven't been above it. No, we have not. Today, we got into that level. What time was it exactly? I just want to give everybody the right time. It was a 9:50 candle on the 5-minute chart. Tesla, all-time highs. What a move up as we accumulate for that $500 break. I mean, we got really aggressive, if you recall, after the election last year. This thing ran super aggressive into December, and then it gave it almost all back. I think like the majority of the move subsequent to the election was given back, and that had a lot of people feeling some kind of way, of course, about Tesla. Recovering beautifully here as we await for the robo-taxi to go driverless, right, without a safety driver. I want to mention, by the way, the videos that I'm seeing, Fabian, coming out of San Francisco, because we know they're operating a pseudo robo-taxi in that area. The way that they're getting around the lack of a California license to operate the robo-taxi is there's actually somebody sitting in the driver's seat, not even the passenger seat. There was a safety driver in the Austin, and they're sitting in the passenger side. They're actually sitting in the driver's side. They're not operating the car. They don't have their hands on the wheel, but they're actually sitting in the driver. So it looks like the driver is driving you, but then you notice that the car is moving without being given instructions by the driver, of course. You think so? Fabian, can they hear you?
They
hear
can
you?
now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, let them
If
hear you.
for this to work, I feel like there's gonna need to be a form of accountability.
Okay.
Like how are you gonna like who, if the car gets in an accident, who's
Yeah.
the one paying for it?
That's a
right?
great one. That's a great point. It's going to have to be, at least my thinking, Fabian, it's going to have to be the driver or the owner of the car. Like maybe that the owner of the car might have a case against Tesla for some sort of glitch in the FSD. I think that would maybe be vitiated out of vis-a-vis a contract between Tesla and the buyer, right? Whereas you forego your rights to sue Tesla by assuming responsibility or by purchasing the unsupervised
I think it'll be the
FSD.
latter.
Think it'll be the latter?
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. I don't know if you even know there's anything right now because there's obviously unsupervised FSD. What happens if that was, what if there's an accident of sorts? Yeah, I'll have to look into that. It's actually a great point. I don't know who's going to be liable in those cases, but in any event, let's get HXHX over here because this one's going against me again. I gauged that 80 penny seller. I've wet the beak a couple of times, but this one is having trouble bouncing back into the mid-90s. I've already put my stop, so come what may on this one. But for the moment, it feels like it could be flat bottom breakage through 80 pennies. We're already 2 pennies out of the money right now as it kind of pops off. Okay, now we're break even again. Let's see if this one can catch a bid and move into the 90s. I've layered the orders on this one. We'll see what it does. Separately, SIDU, ugly topping tail. Sorry, what is going on over here? Topping tail candle. There it is. Into 251. And it's coming back down now, trying to hold trend here at the 20, holding the $0.25, but the topping tail candle prior on this, that's the one I'm showing right there. It breached 50. I didn't have any beak wetters north of 50, so it didn't print, nor do I want to add into here anyway. I want to see if this $0.25, which acted as resistance earlier, is in fact going to act as support this time. So if it does, I'll get back in. Otherwise, it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference to me. I'm not going to pick up some in a random area. FJET as well. Looking like it's continuing to sell off. So it still has lower highs. And this is why I don't want to jump into FJET super quick. And here's what I mean. So it did find support, as you can see, at the 10 EMA. And this candle has a higher low. This current candle also has a higher low. So a couple of higher lows in a row. But it still feels like the downtrend is intact after that 1648 high a day, and then it ended up being a topping tail candle, and then lower highs and lower lows since that time. So this could be a bull flag, obviously, with the bull flag breakout, or the bull flag starting at around 13 bucks, the breakout essentially being 14 bucks, and the top is 16.5. We put in a bit of a consolidation, downward channel, look for the breakout above that and a continuation above 16.5. I could trade it that way, I wouldn't mind, but I'm going to watch closely here as this one does have a tendency to bamboozle a little bit. And I promised Bovin I'd get to this. And Bovin, I saw you mentioning this in the chat multiple times, and I am sorry, but this is a good one. I just couldn't get to it because we kept digressing into other topics. But KYTX. Fantastic. Look at this flat top breakthrough 7.5, and then all hell broke loose to the high side at around 1140 on good volume, about 300,000, 400,000 shares per that 5-minute candle. But this one has suffered from just that, a lack of volume, despite getting, you know, certain candles with a good amount of volume outsized relative to the priors. But it's above 8, seems like it's doing a bit of a rounded top now with these topping tail candles. The last few candles has been lower highs, but it's an 817 high. KYTX up almost 13%. Be on the lookout for that. Separately, before we send it back to your boy Joey Opsh, SIDU holding the $0.25 super clean, and here it is again into that 40 penny area. Should have been adding at the $0.25. I didn't. That's on me. We're going to keep an eye here on SIDU to see if we can get in some more at a better price. 2 New York cents. What about men's? It looks like it's consolidating a bit here. I got to disagree, 2 New York. I don't like the look of this one's jib at the moment. And the reason is it's umpteen amount of lower highs ever since that topping tail candle at 1125, making the high of the day of 782. And then even when we halted down, look at the halt open. It's been lower, a symphony of lower highs since that down halt. Opened up at, I think it opened up at around 630. It's been lower high, lower high, lower high, and now it feels like it's going to give up VWAP and give up 5.5. There is a bit of a consolidation area from the earlier time of the day around, I want to say 5.25, 5.5. If it gives that up, I'm already not going to trade it because it's trading below VWAP. But this one does feel like it might be on the way down. MENS, I see your point about consolidation, but what I'm trying to gauge here are the highs changing in terms of higher highs? Because I'm a long-only small-cap trader, right? So the highs interest me a lot. And we're not getting that quite yet on MENS. So let me know if it changes to New York cents. I'll jump into that one if it's warranted. Bovin says, I think it's building another consolidation and then a rip up again. He is talking, of course, about KYTX. I don't disagree with you, Bovin. This was a prolonged bull flag earlier on with the 930 break, a flat top at 7.5, higher lows. You get a flat top break at 1140, and it's putting in yet another bull flag. So 2 bull flags under KYTX's belt. We'll see if we can get a third. Travman, Sharif, keep it going, brother. Got to rake in some leaves real quick. Still listening, though. Have to take my eyes off the market for about 25 minutes. Shout out to Travman. Get those chores in, brother. I wish one day I'm raking up the leaves in my own house. Hopefully sooner rather than later, despite the fact that, that's a question now, Joey, because after we talk about how the real estate market performs relative to stocks, might not be a good investment.
Fair enough, fair enough. All right, guys, let's see what we got going on here. We took a little bit out on AAPL, 20 cents worth of risk, so we take it out at a little bit more than a 1-to-1. And now I have my eyes. I was looking at CoreWeave. It looks kind of attractive right now, but this name's not the best intraday trader. I would like to add substantially more shares on this position. I'm currently sitting on half. I wasn't going to make the same mistake that I made before with IONQ and with Tesla earlier in the day. It's just that when you hit that 2-to-1 profit target, take the majority of it off and leave a little bit of a runner. So I'm happy that we're leaving half here. Obviously would like to have a little bit more shares, but the wider the stop, the less shares that I personally take. Oh, IONQ doing it again. All right, Sharif.
Get it, Joey.
Yeah, we got it. It's really time to rock and roll. Let's see if we can catch this fill. I need to find a price that I really like, and that's going to be 54.80s. So we're going to post up at 80s here on IONQ to see if we can get a nice little move. Once again, I have to give it a little bit wider of a stop. So I'm going to reduce my share size by 66%, so 30% of the full size, just due to the fact that I have to give this 30 cents to be proven wrong. So not too long. IBIT trying to flat top break. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been paying too much attention to it today. I took 2 stabs on it. I'm just like, you know what? We're not strong enough, in my opinion. So I've just been avoiding it. Okay, so we're back in IONQ. We caught that fill at 54.80s. We're giving it to the low of the day. Again, I have to give this 30 cents. So 50s is where I'm essentially wrong. I like the double indecision. We did double top. So it's kind of like a big time push and pull battle right now between the bulls and the bears. You double top up here. But what I'm getting in on is essentially the exact same print in which I seen earlier before, but let's see if this holds up. Last time it worked right away. This doesn't seem to be the case right now as we're slightly OTM. Totally fine. I'm going to have my faith in a name that is relatively strong, and that is going to be IONQ, as Apple has broke the downtrend. I know that Neil will like this. Let's pull up AAPL here, guys. So we're rocking and rolling on 2 names so far. So let's kind of zoom this out. Yeah, so far. Yeah, it's all right.
I can't help it.
That's all right, man. So look, bang, Neil.
See what I do when Olivia Chow comes on TV, bro. You have no
idea. Yeah, well, I mean, hey, man.
You got no idea,
all right,
Joey.
Let's take a little bit off here on IONQ. We caught that fill, baby. Let's go. As once again, we get a nice little move, only 10 cents. So I didn't even really give it the risk or reward. I took some off, so I'm going to reduce the size, but I'm going to stick to the same stop right here, guys. So keep that in mind. Am I plugged in? I am. All right, we're going to Sharif with an ad read, and then we got to get right back into this action as IONQ is coming back in.
Joey, for far too long, trading meant risking your own money or not even having enough to start. Also, the fear of losing, it kept so many traders on the sidelines, but thankfully, that is now all changing. Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets with its limited risk trading model. Traders actually use funded capital, and Trade the Pool, well, they absorb all the downside. It allows you to focus on what truly matters. We are talking about the discipline, the consistency, and of course, that growth. And when you hit the profit target, you keep up to 70% of the profits. There is no fear. There are no barriers, Ram. There is just real opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading, and it is powered by the people at Trade the Pool. So you need to visit them right now. TradeThePool.com. or scan that non-existent QR code on the screen to get your 10% off the first evaluation. Shout out to the folks at Trade the Pool.
All right, good stuff, brother. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. There's Apple looking like it wants to break this 272 level. If it does, we're going to take a little bit off, and then we have IONQ, so we'll do a little bit of a comparison, guys. Attempt number 1 didn't necessarily go as planned. That would have been an absolutely prime-time Deion Sanders right there. So let's see if we can break this $55 level here in IONQ. We'll take a little bit more out. I took 33% out. I'm going to take an additional maybe 10, 15% of what I currently have off of that. So this is working precision, precision, precision. As my guy Conor McGregor says, precision or timing beats precision. So maybe not. Timing is everything there, Sharif. As we are heading in towards that $55 level, let's take a little bit more off on IONQ. There it is. Bang, $55 tapped in. And then we also have AAPL. Let's head over to IONQ so you guys can see what we got cooking over here. IONQ on the New York Stock Exchange.
Cooking, baby.
All right there. 55.05s now, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
So a double header right now. We fumble it once, we get right back in. This time we're not fumbling it as we are now currently sitting on half of the remaining full size of the position. So let's take a little bit more off, be a little bit more cautious on what we got going on. So I'll reduce my size to about 33% of the initial position as it's starting to slowly come back in. Oh, we didn't even catch that fill. Good stuff there. A lot of fun. But I, obviously being extremely sarcastic, AAPL looking like it wants to break that 272 level, Sharif. We like that a lot. I like it. I like it a lot.
I like it.
Sorry, 1 second. As Apple goes, there goes AAPL, guys. We're doing it as live as it gets, really, as it breaks to 272.06 on AAPL. No, Apple is not on the New York Stock Exchange, Sharif. But for some reason, it doesn't want to head over there. There it is on Apple, guys. A nice little move.
Joey.
Yeah.
You played football, as we confirmed a few days ago, despite the fact that you told me
a year ago.
Sorry, I forget easily. I'm 100.
Yeah.
The point is,
40%.
when did you fumble the ball ever?
No,
you never.
I didn't. No.
You never fumbled the ball?
Never.
That's crazy. Everybody fumbled the ball.
But bro, but I didn't play offense.
Forget about that.
Yeah.
Here's the question.
Yeah.
What did your coach do to those on the team who fumbled the ball? What was the disciplinary action?
I remember our running back was literally on a breakaway on his own, and he was running so fast his knee hit his elbow, fumbled the ball.
That's a Leon Lett moment, baby. That sucks.
I probably shouldn't say his name, but I'll never forget that one time. No, Sharif, but
so what was the go-to disciplinary? Was it?
You're doing laps, brother.
You're doing laps.
You're doing laps with the ball in your hand, and then you have to skip a lot. I remember he tried making some students walk around with the football, obviously, throughout high school and stuff. I'll never forget this one play. So I played free safety and corner in the latter years of high school.
Okay.
And my one buddy played D lineman. Right. So anyways, we're having this corner blitz, right? Where I faked a drop back and I just obviously blitzed the QB.
Okay.
So it's like I'm probably about 3 feet away from the quarterback. I go to tackle him. My buddy breaks through the D line right in front of me, and I trip. You guys
collided?
Yeah, dude, he fell on the ground. I trip over him, and the quarterback just runs right past us. I was so mad at him.
That's essentially
so mad. No, I had a couple nice interceptions throughout my high school career. Ran those for some yards. Never got a touchdown though, surprisingly. So
no way.
No, I got a couple safeties though.
Okay, so you think that running laps, maybe some push-ups, would be, the appropriate disciplinary action, right? Something physical to put you better into better shape. Maybe like some grip, hand grips to tighten up that grip a bit on the ball. Dude, our coach, because my school didn't have a high school football team, so I played for the city of Markham, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we had like a special field that we would practice on, and there were bathrooms there, okay? Yes, Ram.
What did you have to do?
We had to clean the bathrooms.
Oh,
and it wasn't even ours. It was run by the city of Markham. Man. And the city of Markham would ask this guy, like, why are the bathrooms so clean?
Yeah.
And it was just like, absolute, yeah, I'm never going to forget that. But let me tell you, bro, it motivated you to no end
Yeah, that
not
you're
to drop
you're
that
not dropping that ball.
Because that was a public bathroom.
Full disclosure, our
was a public
high school
bathroom.
team sucked.
Yeah, well,
we were horrible, dude. Horrible. We just weren't good, man. That's for sure. It sucked, man. We didn't win very many games at all. But oh my, I couldn't believe this. So we're playing, for those who live in Ontario, we're playing Barrie Central. And then who are familiar with Barrie, we're playing Barrie Central. Okay. We're down 2 points somehow. Anyways, we have Barrie has possession. I get a stop, right? So they turn, the ball comes over to us. We get into field goal range. Our coach is like, no, we're going for it, when all we needed was a field goal. Why? And we get stopped. Yeah, and it was
what
like
kind
third
of
down.
decision
Yeah,
is
it was
that?
horrible. It was absolutely horrible. I
Fired.
got the stop to give us the ball back, and then sure enough, the guy goes for the touchdown instead of
That's a
the
hell of a
field goal.
game
Makes
manager.
zero sense. So after that, our coach would always be like, yeah, when I played university football, we would always be like, yeah, what did you play, left bench? And he hated it, man. He hated it.
What kind of a decision is that?
Yeah, it was horrible, man.
That's horrible game management. Well, what is what it is. Yeah. Guys, I have to bring your attention above and special. KYTX is him. This one broke out. Bovin, you were absolutely right. Didn't matter if these topping tail candles had lower highs or whatever the hell they were doing, because it was bought up, and it was bought up aggressively. And if you put your stop below the 10 moving average on the 5, you have not been disappointed. Into the high it goes, 16.25%, 836 high. You're not going to get too much in the way of volume on this one. Let me just tell you what this one has done on volume. Give me a second here, because it doesn't show up on the on this black chart, but it has done 2 million shares, 2.06. So it's not that much, of course, for an $8 name, but it's not too bad. 838 high now. Every time I look over at this, it's making newer highs. What's the trade on this one? How do you get in? Well, I'm going to be looking essentially for a retesting of that breakout area. If that means 820, 810, that's the buy zone for me. I wouldn't necessarily give it to 8, because 8 goes below that buy zone as well as below the 10 EMA. If it ends up finding support at 8, it's going to find support there without me, because I'm not going to be punching in there, at least not initially, unless I change my view. So we're still holding SIDU. We're still holding HXHX. My move here on HXHX is an 80 penny hold. I've wet the beacon to 90, as this one did pop off in 89.5. I didn't take out even half the position yet. We're still holding for a bigger move up, but it is the KYTX show at the moment. And as I see it, FJET starting to look a little bit different. It has now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 higher lows in a row ever since making that local area low at 1210, the low of which was around 1406, 1405. This current area of consolidation is essentially a little bit above 15. You can see the wicks go into about 1540, right around that $15.50 area. But it has been holding the 10 EMA on the 5 pretty strictly. And what I would suggest to you is, if you want to get in on FJET, you don't like essentially the spread, give it to prior bar low. Prior bar low has not been breached since that 1210. So we are going now on almost 40 minutes. And here it is again with a higher low, attempting a 15.5 break again on FJET. I'm still yet to execute anything on this name, but I'm certainly loving this one. 130% in the Ville of Green. Let's see if it can get up a little bit more and test that 16.5. I'm all ears, baby. But we're going to manage the trade here on HXHX. Anything below 80, as I spoke about, we're gonzino. And then SIDU. To me, SIDU is certainly getting some buying in and around here, and I could be convinced to get in a bit more. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do here, Joey. It looks like it's holding up at these levels, and since we don't have that many beak wetters left, we should probably fill up a little bit more on this one. And here we go. We're going to do it live. We punched in here, which is going to fundamentally, of course, change my cost basis on SIDU up to 32s. We're going to see what this one does. What do you got?
Nice stuff. One more thing about football there. I remember as a kid, we used to get a 2-liter bottle of pop in the wintertime, and you remove the wrapper on the pop, and you use that as your football, and then you play because, yeah, it's extremely slippery, and you hold on to it.
Man,
we always used to play
said.
this sick game where you'd be a running back, and you had 1 blocker and then 2 defenders, and yeah, it was the greatest time. Football in the winter is so much fun. All right, guys, so there it is on AAPLs. We're starting to recover. I'm all out of IONQ, so let's continuously hold on to this position. I might post up just a little bit south of 271.90s. Maybe we'll go 85s to see if we can grab a little bit more shares on this, because there's some indecision prints that I'm really starting to like on this name, and it's been working out, so there's no reason for us to get out of this and peace out anymore until maybe we can add a little bit more shares. Tesla's starting to form some indecision prints, but that's maybe gone now, guys. Don't love the location of them. Once again, I always emphasize on location, location, location. And when you're looking for indecision prints, it's extremely key. Extreme highs, pullbacks, extreme lows, the volume weighted average price, etc. Now, as for some of the other names, AAL, not liquid today whatsoever, so that's not looking good. I'm just running through names. That's how I found Apple, and that's how I found IONQ, was just running through some names and running through the scan that I have right now. So keep an eye out on that. Another indecision print, the pop on this one, so you can see that these prints are identical. Sorry, 1 second, Adair. You see how these prints are identical, but this one wasn't nearly as strong, so maybe buyers slowly starting to cool off. Adair, what do you have for us?
I have an update here for NVDA. Now, apparently, Democratic lawmakers have issued a letter saying that they want the Commerce Department to disclose all requests for licenses for NVIDIA to ship H200 AI chips to China. So again, I guess these Democratic lawmakers would like the Commerce Department to send all of these license requests for NVIDIA's H200 AI chips to China. Not much of a move here, just an update, guys. Back to you.
All right, guys, so let's go through a couple more names.
Sorry, Joey, FJET broke out again. There it goes through 15.5, a clean hold of the 10 EMA into $16. It's getting some resistance now at 16, but look for a move into 16.5. It's 16.48 high. This one's really going now, showing me 11s. The bid is a little bit above 16, but not really getting away from that $16 enough. Yeah, so this one's on a breakout right now, but careful with this one. It is on the AMX exchange, up 140%, really going here. FJET. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, that's all right, man. Yeah, so that's what I got going. FJET is looking pretty good there. I have my eyes on it. We have a high of the day of around 1643 now, just hovering around that zone. An indecision, an inverted print right here on AAPL on this pullback. So this downtrend was broken. We get above it, but now we're starting to form this shelf. That's why I was thinking posting up a little bit south of that. So if we get this to crack and we don't have any clean pullbacks, then I like that potential dip buy in the continuation in strength in AAPL. QBTS is bouncing off of the lows. Just keep an eye out on that. What we are starting to form here is a descending wedge, guys. You can see we have that flat bottom right there at 54.56 and those consistent lower highs. So keep an eye out on this just in case we do want to break out and establish a new high of the day. I have a feeling that it's just one of those grinding bids. If the downtrend is broken, you get a 1 minute or even a 5 minute candle to sit on the top end of the range, then that is going to be a pretty good opportunity in my opinion. And this is the shelf that I'm talking about here in AAPL. Once that gives way, then we're going to look for some indecision prints south of that level, and then maybe we can reload and get into full size on that specific name. The market is slowly starting to curl over. We haven't been talking about this too much. The TQs, guys, a nice rebound off of the lows, but you couldn't just break and hold the volume weighted average price. So starting to come back in once again, you have that neckline and that shelf starting to be formed here in the TQQQ. So keep an eye out on that. I'm just chipping away at some of the losses here right now, guys. So other than what we had started at the end of the day, we did take or at the beginning of the session, we took a loss on Robinhood, but we've won on TSLL, we've won on IONQ, and we got Apple going for us right now. I just don't have enough shares in this specific name, so I am looking to add a little bit more.
All right, Bovin's saying DXYZ just broke out. Yeah, above 33, it's up 6%. Of course, we know that they hold a substantial amount of, what's it called, SpaceX, with that company now in focus for an IPO next year. Widely speculated we might be coming to market with an eye-watering $1 trillion valuation. Ironically enough, that's not even the only one that's being spoken about that could be coming to market with $1 trillion. That would be OpenAI as well. But quite frankly, I am more bullish on SpaceX than I am on OpenAI at the moment, as I think that that company has lost its way. And for the moment, let's see if Altman can kind of figure things out. And there's videos. I was telling you guys on Friday, there are videos circulating all over social media, specifically TikTok. I shouldn't say all over social media, on TikTok, that is just they're parodies, joking, comparing OpenAI to like an out of form or a past the prime player, like a sports player or of any kind, an athlete. And there's just drawing parallels there, and they're hilarious. And everybody's kind of making their own versions of them. So it's not just me that feels that OpenAI has kind of lost its way a little bit. We'll have to see.
For now.
For now, exactly. Yeah, let's be fair. For now, right?
For now.
He has the opportunity to come back. He can make changes. But to me, it was really weird because he has no shortage of money. Everybody was throwing money at this guy.
Yep.
And then the product was not improving, nor the speed wasn't improving. I would say the utility.
Why do you think that is?
And my suspicion, and all that it is a suspicion without evidence, is that the more he got in investment dollars, the more opinions and the more stipulations that were coming in tied to those investment dollars. And that may have changed the direction of the company a little bit. That's just a guess, and that's all that it is. All right, guys, so let's get back to business over here. FJET's insane. It is another new high of the day on FJET. Here it comes again above the $0.50. It is now a 16.75 high of the day. Very good strength on this one and a clean hold of the 10 EMA. Wow, here we are again, right back into that area high. There was a seller at 65 here that we can't shake 60, excuse me, from what I can see on the time in sales. It said 65 on the level 2, but the prints on the TOS were coming in at 60. So let's see what this one does. Can it use 16 as support? I would just give it to prior bar low. I wouldn't even try to be guessing prices. Just give it to prior bar low. It's been running up pretty aggressively. B-balling 23. Sharif, if OpenAI does not succeed, the market will crash. I thought about that. I did think about that because so much is tied to the OpenAI build-out, whether you're talking about Oracles or NVIDIAs or everything else. But I do very strongly believe if OpenAI can't meet those obligations, there are other players that will step in to fill the void. Of course, we're going to get an immediate market correction, but I think in the long term, there are other well-funded, better-funded individuals that could step in. And really fill the void left.
Yeah, and then you have Google, who doesn't need any funding whatsoever, and they have top of the class. So,
exactly.
I mean, we've been talking about this since day one. Essentially, is that they have the most data out of everyone. They don't need to go into the debt markets or anything along those lines. They just have a phenomenal amount of, insane amount of cash. So if you're looking for an all-around ETF, it's GOOGL, Google, in my opinion. Find that name. That was the worst sell of my career, to be honest with you. And you know what? I'm looking to get involved with this. I think Google will always succeed no matter what. It's just I'm going with the narrative of too big to fail, Sharif, and I think that Google is that. They got so much going for them, whether it be Willow, whether it be Gemini, whether it be Waymo. There's just YouTube is an unstoppable force right now in the streaming wars, and I think they're going to continue to do so. Sharif mentioned that. What are they getting, the Golden Globes or something like that on there? I think that's just the start of ththings. So. Oscars, I mean, what a potato at the end of the day. So yeah, there it is. Boom. AAPL, a nice little out there. I don't really.
Ram, they gotta be able to hear you, Ram, because it's funny what you're saying, and like they gotta be able to. It's okay, Ram. Ram was going back and forth there with Joey. She's like, yo, bro, Golden Globes and Oscars are not the same thing. She's stickler for details. Shout out to Ram. No, but I completely agree with you. But look at the insanity, which is FJE frickin' T. It is a 1786 high a day. The breakout is on. It is up 160%. It's got, I don't want to say it's a blue sky setup. Well, it is a blue sky freaking setup. This thing's been in the market for a couple of days. No, Joey, we did have a 1773 high of day on the 18th. We have cleared that now by all of 13 pennies with a 1786 high of day currently. So FJET clearing all-time highs that it put back on the 18th by 13 pennies, at least for now. Let's see how this one does. It could be an area of technical resistance. Keep your eye out on that. we're still holding here HXHX as this one moves back into 87s. I don't want to take out too much too quick because this is a good consolidation zone with support at 80 pennies. I learned that the hard way on HXHX. It looks as if the selling does come in into the high 80s, low 90s, at least for now. It's been above there before. It's also been above $1. We've got a good amount of shares to take some into the dollar here. Let's just pack the patience and not take out too much too quickly. But for the moment, we still have that high 80s seller that we can't shake. Separately, SIDU, you're disappointing me, SIDU. After the ad, now we're a little bit out of the money. Here's the deal. If it loses 20 pennies, I'm out. 30 pennies, excuse me. So we've got 37s on. I'll give this one to 30 pennies. If it loses it, it's all over for this one. Let's go ahead and throw that one in there. And now we've got that all locked and loaded. We're going to be able to look at SIDU, on FJET and HXHX, Joey. What do you got?
All right, guys. It is betapro.ca. Oh, no.
What happened, Joey?
And now for some exciting news out of Canada. For sophisticated traders on the stream, Beta Pro by Global X Canada, Canada's largest provider of leveraged inverse and inverse leveraged ETFs, has just bought 6 new triple leveraged ETFs offering 3x bull and 3x bear exposure to the S&P and TSX 60, semiconductors, and on U.S. Treasuries. Even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees just to 65 basis points until December 31st. You don't have much time to get this, guys.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, plus the U.S.-focused strategies use currency hedging, offering the potential for pure performance and exposure. If you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca 3x daily to learn more. So go and check that out, guys. I was posting up there on IONQ at 54.60s at the lower end of the range. We're still sitting in this apple grind. This is what I was talking about. I just didn't put the order out. So you can see that we were forming that shelf, guys. And then sure enough, you just have that little bit of a wick down to 271.80s. And then after that, you make that climb higher. So just stopping everyone out who was using this lower end of the range as their stop loss, now just climbing right back higher. Now, as for IONQ, let's head back over to there. I'm full size on this IONQ, giving it only 10 cents if I'm fortunate enough to catch this this range trade. I'm at the lower end of it, and I'm out at 50s considering the size that I have on. So 10 cents, it's either it's going to work right away or it's not going to, and it's going to stop us out. Considering it does have a 2-penny spread, that's not too bad. I'm okay with it. We'll catch that fill, and then we're going to take everything from that standpoint. As the SPY is continuing to climb higher, someone was talking about a large print, but I didn't see it. We're almost at the HOD right here, guys, on the SPY, and at this pace, you can see this bull flag starting to be formed. This is going to be the second leg, so you have the consolidation, nice strong leg higher, and now you're forming that that additional consolidation zone, and then now we're heading towards the HOD. So let's see if that can help drag Apple and company up with it. I haven't even looked at AMD really in a couple of days, to be honest with you, Sharif. I can't remember the last time I traded advanced micro devices, but here it is, a nice indecision print right off the lows. So I'm starting to see a lot more prints that I like in the latter half of these sessions, and I'm glad that we are patient and we have plenty of risk, and we're just slowly grinding higher and higher. So I'm going to head back over to my scan and look for some high quality opportunities. Let's see if we catch this fill on IONQ, and let's see if we can get a new high here in AAPL or a potential dip buy so I can reload and rock and roll on this one, brother.
AMD well off the highs, Joey. It did pierce 220, momentarily down now into 214. The reason it was moving up, Ram, was because of this headline that came in the morning. Chinese tech giant Alibaba is considering ordering some of AMD's advanced artificial intelligence chips. MLEX reported, MLEX, that's the reporting agency, where they are. The tech giant could order somewhere between 40,000 and 50,000 AMD MI308s. That's the China-specific accelerator. If they reported AMD shares did move up earlier on. AMD and Alibaba did not respond to a request for comment from Seeking Alpha with Lisa Su, who met the Chinese Commerce Minister Wang Wentuo in Beijing last week. The government agency said the two sides exchanged views on the company's business development in China and strengthening the cooperations that they have. The agency, not AMD, said in a statement, though no specifics were mentioned. We know that President Trump said earlier this month he had approved the sale of NVIDIA's H200 H20s, but he said, or sorry, H200s, pardon me, but he also said the same deal would apply for Intel as well as AMD, though he did not mention the specific processor that would be allowed. What I can't reconcile in my mind is that the MI308 is very much like an H20 comp, okay, where it was made specifically for China, whereas the H200 is not. That was their premier chip in 23, which is now being allowed to be exported. So I can't, for the life of me, understand why anyone would want to buy the MI308, which is a China-specific downgraded chip based on their technology, rather than getting maybe AMD's 2023 flagship product in the same way that they're going to get NVIDIA's 2023 flagship product vis-a-vis the H200. So I can't reconcile this in my mind. I don't know why Alibaba would want to get their hands on the 308. If you guys know, if you understand the chip business, or you know exactly why maybe the 308 is better than the H20, I'd love for you guys to tag me and let me know.
Cheaper?
Because I'm assuming it's going to be cheaper, Joey. I don't know that for a fact. We can check with a large language model to find out.
But you know what that also tells me as well, too,
Yes, sir.
Sharif, is that what's going on with the Huawei chips? Like, why wouldn't Alibaba go, right?
So I want to mention, that's a great segue, Joey. So this is, again, unconfirmed, but in the article this morning that I was reading about the H200 and NVIDIA, it looks as if the Chinese regulator may start be like, all right, you're Alibaba. You want to get 10,000 H200s? All right, fine. But there's going to be a 2-to-1 ratio. For every two H200s that you buy, you got to buy one Huawei Ascend, right? So that way you can kind of, number one, you're obviously providing liquidity and revenue for your own companies. And two, with that money, you can force them into product development and catch up a little bit over here. But there goes HXHX. I can't even say the name. I got so excited. Right into the highs, into the dollar area. I packed my patience on this one. We got 84s. It just touched the dollar. That 80 penny buyer was the only reason I stayed in this, and I added the exact same amount that we added initially when we got stopped out. So HXHX through the dollar, but even though I got really excited, it is now the second lower high in a row. The high of the day, the candle at 11.05. That's $1.05. Then we have a double top almost at 11.55 and 12. That's 104 area high. And now it is a $1 high. So it's high, lower high, and lower high again. Be on the lookout here for HXHX. Let this one roll. Farm trader, that a boy, trade their pennies. Hey man, that's kind of what I trade. These are the ones that I like. I can't help it. You need mustard, baby. All right, shout out to my man Joe Lovin, 8365, guys. So we're gonna keep an eye here on HXHX, but I want to remind you as well, FJET is him, and it's coming back right back down into the $15 area from where it broke out. Keep your eye here on FJET. Still not giving up the ghost, Joey.
All right, man. Good look as we got out break even, and there goes IONQ climbing right back to the top side. I mean, I'm still waiting. The momentum definitely picked up as the market, the SPY is putting in new highs. We have the Nasdaq now above the volume weighted average price. So I'm like, is this a liquidity grab before we maybe go a little bit higher here in AAPL? So we get out when we're supposed to. We broke that 272 level, one of the primary targets, and held the size. I only got stopped out about 20% of my remaining position, so we did piece out 80% of it. I have no issues with that, considering we were trying to leave some for a runner, which we did. Now I'm looking at other things, right? I'm going to keep my eye on AAPL as we are heading right back, as long as we don't crack this low. And if it forms another indecision print, in which I'm going to compare to, this is what I'm looking for, guys. So we've seen it in IONQ, and now this is what I'm going to be looking for here in AAPL. So if we get another hammer candle, so I was long off of this one. We did get somehow caught in this pullback. I don't know how. And then sure enough, boom, you go off to the races. And then on the third time, so you have that third indecision print right at that specific support level, and then you break through that downtrend once again. That's been happening on Apple Lit Grabs. Then goes up in the afternoon. Trinity and Joe will teach you the way. Thanks, Joe's big daddy. Even though I don't know why I'm shutting you up, but hey, man, it is what it is. Obviously, being sarcastic. AAPL holding up relatively well right now. I want to find some indecision prints. Rivian Millionaire, appreciate it. That's been happening on Apple. Lit grabs, then goes up in the afternoon. Yeah, I've been noticing that. So what I'm currently working on, what I'm finding is that with the morning volatility doesn't work the best. I like the latter halves of this session and heading towards the end of the day. It's giving me some prime time opportunities. So I'm looking forward to just continuously grinding out here to see if we can rock and roll and find some high quality setups. We are getting a nice inverted hammer candle printing on the 5-minute on the SPY there. So if we get a little bit more selling pressure, maybe possibly you can get somewhat of a pullback. Once again, you form the shelf and you break through it. So I think at some point we will cover a little bit of this ground right here, guys. That is on the SPY. Other Zinc, what's going on, brother? I hope everything is good. Hey, let me know. Let's get that poll. Are you guys busy? I need to learn how to put the poll up so I don't always have to ask you guys all the time. Let's get the poll up. It's a Christmas poll. Have you completed all of your Christmas shopping so far? Yes or no? I know Katina Man was just out there doing some of that. I don't know if he went to the gym or he maybe went and hit the Eden Center real quick. So yeah, find out yes or no, put it in the chat. Not until Christmas Eve. I used to be like that, but I'm not all about the hustle and bustle anymore, guys. I want to make it nice and quiet, get to the mall nice and early where I don't have to deal with that many individuals, get what I got to get, and get out of there. A lot of people are calling me, listen, you know what my family said?
Let's hear it, Joe.
I said, you know what? I'm not doing the Christmas shopping anymore. I'm going the gift card route. And they said that is inconsiderate and unthoughtful. And I said, you know what I did? I flipped them the Austin 316. I said, take the money or don't take it at all. How about that? Yeah, exactly.
Such
uninvited.
jolly Christmas spirit you've got going on there, Joey.
Listen, I got the green on. I love the energy and everything. Someone's going lame. I appreciate that. Some people are saying yes.
Katina Man's shaking his head, bro. He can't believe what he's hearing right now.
Just all right, you're not getting your Christmas present.
Wow, Ram.
How's that? Yeah, attaboy, Joey says, front. That's my type of people right there, man. Gift card or go home. That's what I'm looking at there.
I love the energy, bro. I gotta support the energy.
Not a great idea, says Joey.
Dude, the funniest, sort of the funniest videos as well are like the kids reacting to the Grinch. You ever see those videos where they come on X?
No.
Where like the mom and the dad will like set up a Grinch coming in. So all the kids will be there. They're opening presents. They're having a merry old time. And then lurking outside the house, like peering in from the window is like some like uncle dressed up as the Grinch. And then he terrorizes the kids. And the kids literally get scared, bro. There's crying. There's screaming. I got to show some of these videos. They're freaking hilarious. It's what I do if I was dad. I terrorized my kids. All right. No, we're kidding, of course. We're exaggerating for effect, as we always do. Guys, HXHX, the only other trade that I've got on here at the moment, looking for that dollar break. We've set up at 99s. Let's see what this one has to offer, but it is now 101, and we haven't been doing the news lately because things have been very volatile in the market, so we got to get right down to business. As, believe it or not, even though it's a holiday shortened week, there is a lot to speak about in terms of news items.
That's crazy. Scrooge, people call me Scrooge. If I was Scrooge, you wouldn't be getting anything at all.
Oh, wow.
I'm giving you a gift card. You can go pick something else that you want. But no, in my defense, hear me out. In my defense, I either get the wrong size or the wrong color. So it's just like easier. You're going back to the store anyways. So here it is and just get done. Tell me what it is. Show me. Send me the link. I'll get the gift card.
You're going to get it.
Bang. And then you can go and then you can go and get it. All right. Man, come on.
I like it, bro. I love the energy, man. Let me just set up here on HXHX. I'm going to take this out so we can focus on the news. Let's talk about
Mr. Gray.
Tesla, the leading name in the world of Mag 7 today. It's not even close. Almost 3% as it knocks on the door of all-time highs. Well, what's so good about Tesla today? What's happening here? Well, on Friday, in case you hadn't been following, the Delaware Supreme Court overturned, yes, that lower court ruling and restored Elon Musk's 2018 Tesla compensation package. The appellate court said the full rescission of the deal was improper by the trial judge as well as unfair, noting Musk went uncompensated for about roughly 6 years despite hitting his performance milestones. The 2018 pay package, in case you don't know, originally valued at $56 billion, now roughly worth about 140, a little bit less, billion based on Tesla's current share price. The deal, the 2018 deal, not the revamped deal from earlier this year, grants Musk options to acquire about 304 million Tesla shares at deeply discounted prices, representing about 9% of Tesla's outstanding shares. Separately, we know that Elon has made it very clear he wants about 20% before he starts building a robot army. I don't want anyone owning a robot army, like even Elon, and I like Elon. If exercised in full, Musk's ownership stake would rise from about 12.4% to roughly 18.1% on a diluted share basis. Of course, the option to acquire more shares has the effect of diluting the current pool. Musk never exercised the options due to a shareholder lawsuit filed shortly after that 2018 approval. Lawyers, though, who challenged the package said they are reviewing their next steps, thinking, of course, of more appeals. Now, those lawyers were paid out pretty handsomely. I wonder what the money that they got from the trial judge is actually going to do. Are they going to give it back? You have to re-allot it to Elon. Of course, we know these are ambulance-chasing lawyers. They are working on contingency. So I don't know what it is south of the border, but here they can take about 30% of the entire payout. So we'll have to do a bit more digging. If you guys want to do the digging, let me know. Tag myself or Joseph in the chat. But the original ruling had accused Tesla's board of conflicts of interest and withholding key facts from shareholders. Tesla is now incorporated in the state of Texas, where shareholders' lawsuits would require a 3% ownership stake, not like the person who owned, I guess, 3 shares or whatever, who ended up actually bringing the lawsuit before it was made into a class action one. Joey, Tesla up 2.86.
Yeah, not too bad of a look here on Tesla, as you mentioned earlier in the day. I mean, you hit an all-time high on this one. You want to pay the man at the end of the day. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, just because you want to keep him motivated and you don't want to frustrate him, because we know how he can get, and then he starts going off and making political entities and doing all these things left, right, and center. I think just keep Elon Musk happy at the end of the day, regardless if it's via money or whatever it is. Keep the man happy. Keep the man happy, says Joey. Let's go on to the second best performing name in the world of the Mag 7. NVDA up 1 1/5, but a little negative since the opening bell, about 1/3% negative since 9:30. NVIDIA told Chinese customers, it aims to begin shipping its second most powerful. I don't know why this thing keeps saying it's the second most powerful. The H100 is the second most powerful, with the B200 being the most powerful. I don't know why I keep saying that. It's the third most powerful. That's the second time that this article has been misstated. So I think it is, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, am I getting this wrong? Is the H20 the second most powerful chip? Because I remember the H100 being better than the H200 and the B200 being better than the H100. So let me know if I'm wrong. To begin shipping the H200 to China before the Lunar New Year in mid-February. That's what they said today. Initial deliveries are expected to be about 5,000 to 10,000 chip modules, equivalent to about 40,000 to 80,000 H200 GPUs. NVIDIA also flagged plans to add new production capacity, with orders for that capacity opening up in Q2 of next year. Now, the reason that you even talk about increasing capacity is because they don't make this chip in any great number anymore, because it is a 2023 design. That was a flagship of 2023, superseded, or its predecessor, or its successor was the H100, the successor of which again was the Blackwell. Shipments remain contingent on the Chinese government approval, which has not yet been granted. We know that President Trump gave the nod by allowing the H200 to get shipped to China in exchange, of course, for a 25% cut of China revenue, not all the revenue. Just to give you an idea about the H200, it belongs to NVIDIA's Hopper generation, still widely used by companies despite not being the flagship. And meaning NVIDIA, has prioritized Blackwell production for the B and the GB200, making H200 supply relatively scarce. For Chinese tech giants like Alibaba and ByteDance, H200 access would deliver processes 6
times more capable than the H20 China variant that was available for purchase earlier on. So this obviously is a noted upgrade. China, though, Joey, continues to push development of its own domestic AI chips through many different companies, Huawei, SMIC, there's Meta X now that's involving themselves, and Chinese officials have reportedly discussed bundling requirements. Bundling here meaning the potentially forcing those purchasing the H200 to also include a ratio of forced purchases of domestic chips. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because we know when we were in the first talks, a lot of the Chinese institutions started to apply for it and were granted the permit to start purchasing these things. Obviously, it didn't go as planned for now, but I think it's going to remain high. I think the demand for these chips, obviously, we know that Alibaba wants to grab some of AMD's chips, so the Chinese clearly want the American technology, and I think it's going to remain that way regardless of what they got going on with the Huawei situation. They want it the most powerful and they want the best. Why? Because they're going to probably try to replicate it at the end of the day. So I like what they got going on. Let's stop with all the noise and just start shipping the chips to China, because I think it's strategic in both ways, right? You want the Americans to use the Chinese tech, and then also you get to, the American government is gaining a 25% revenue from NVDA, and I believe it's around 10-15% from AMD. So both parties win at the end of the day, if you ask me.
Okay, so I'm wrong. NVIDIA H200 is more powerful and advanced than the H100. Both are built on the Hopper architecture. The H200 is essentially a supercharged version designed to solve the biggest bottleneck, okay, in modern AI, which is memory. So apparently, yes, the H100 has 80 gigs of memory, while the H200 has 141 gigs. The memory bandwidth, though, also markedly higher on the 200, 4.8 terabytes per second, whereas the memory bandwidth on the 100 is 3.35. Okay, so the article didn't get it wrong. I had it wrong. I just figured that this one was not more advanced because we had always been talking about the H100 as that flagship processor before Blackwell came onto the scene. But yeah, good thing that I figured that one out. Let's go on to the next story. Waymo, I'll show a video in this in a second, but Waymo resumes driverless services after the San Francisco blackout. Very interesting story of what happened there yesterday. Of course, Waymo's not a needle mover for Google in terms of revenue, but it is very much the leader in AV, so that's why we speak about it. Alphabet-owned Waymo restarted its driverless ride-hailing operations in San Fran Bay Area after temporarily suspending service during the widespread city power outages. The pause followed traffic gridlock caused by non-functioning traffic signals and quick transit disruptions. The outage began Saturday afternoon after a fire at a substation. Waymo vehicles, though, they're actually programmed to treat dark traffic signals as four-way stops, but the scale of the outage was so great that the vehicles remained stationary longer than usual, and they caused all sorts of chaos. Elon, of course, took to X to make his point very clear, whether you believe him or not. He says that the robotaxis, the Tesla robotaxis, which are also operating in the San Francisco Bay Area, were unaffected. They don't operate fully or as many as the Waymo cars. So, Joey, I'm going to give this to you for comment over here while I go on over and get the video here. So I want to show everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, as for Waymo, guys, I think this is the case. You're starting to see a lot more. They're starting to clock in the highway miles as well, too. And we were looking at a comparison between the miles that Waymo and Tesla have. But there was a key metric in there that was really, really different, obviously considering the fact that we have Waymo in more cities, so that's driverless. But Tesla still only really operating in Austin, but the full FSD hours logged will still outweigh what Waymo's got going on. I like both of these names, but don't forget from a production kit standpoint, Tesla's going to drastically outperform Waymo in my opinion. Obviously, they can change a lot of things regardless, not just necessarily always going with Jaguar, and they can go with Hyundai or something along those lines. So I like what Waymo's doing. I like what Zoox is doing. You're continuously seeing them expand that geofence, and that's what you want to see, continuously entering and engaging in these major cities. That's going to help remove a lot of the speed bumps along the ways here in the autonomy race.
I like it. So Ram, let's. I want to show a couple of videos. So this first one is the Waymo version with all hell breaking loose at an intersection. Just put it full screen. I can just comment. There we go. So here we go. This is one Waymo car with its hazards on at the middle of the intersection, but I'm going to pause it here. There's one right there, 2, 3, 4.
What is going on?
5 that are blocking the intersection. And then as you can see, all hell is breaking loose behind them as they are, they won't move, right? So Elon obviously took the opportunity to show how much superior his technology is in this given circumstance. So this is FSD. This is the FSD on Tesla driving into obviously an intersection where none of their lights are working. It uses, let's see here, as a four-way stop. It stops all the way. It then makes a left. So it treats it as it's supposed to. I know that that's the rule here as well in Toronto, where if the lights are out, you treat it as a four-way stop. So it operated a little bit better. That does not a glowing endorsement, of course, to say Tesla is better than Waymo. But in this circumstance, there are some videos circulating around showing as such. So good luck there. Let's go on to the next story. It's another autonomous vehicle story, of course. This time it includes a couple of ride-hailing companies. We're talking about Uber and Lyft, who are looking to do business with the Chinese giant Baidu. Chinese tech giant Baidu plans to launch its Apollo Go robotaxi service in London starting next year. It is partnering, as I mentioned, with Uber and Lyft. Baidu says their Apollo Go system already operates across 22 different cities with more than 250,000 weekly trips, underscoring the scale, of course, with Baidu. And they said, look, Lyft, they're going to begin testing Baidu's Go software on their fleet sometime in 2026. They didn't give an exact time, but it's pending regulatory approval by the British regulator. Uber, though, they expect their first London pilot to launch in the first half of next year. The partnerships allow participation in robotaxis without bearing the full hardware and autonomy development costs. That is good for their balance sheets. Of course, I'm talking about Waymo and Uber, who don't have to expend the money to develop this. They obviously won't have as good as margins, though. The UK government, they've been trying to set this up for a while. They announced plans in June to fast-track autonomous vehicle adoption, aiming to permit a small-scale robotaxi pilot of cars in spring of 2026, Joey. But it's not the only Chinese company with a ride-hailing software. We know WeRide as well as Pony AI also scaling internationally. So good luck for all three companies today.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Sharif, I'm in a big position right here. If we can, I don't know if Adara.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll see what stories Adara wants to comment on. No, we're going to go on to the next one. Disney. Avatar's Fire and Ash opens below expectations. So Avatar Fire and Ash opened with only $88 million in revenue domestically, well below the analyst expectations of 110 to 125 million for the three-day debut. It trailed behind 2022's The Way of Water, which posted about $134 million in the opening weekend, and about 5.2 million American moviegoers attended the opening weekend, a sharp drop from the 8.7 just 3 years ago. International markets, though, which Avatar really depends heavily on, brought in about $257 million with the opening, global opening, I should say, about $345 million. The film's over 3-hour runtime limited the show times and also reduced the daily screening capacity compared to the shorter releases. Analysts, though, did also note that less technological novelty was used in this movie versus the previous Avatar films, which may have not moved the needle for those looking to watch it. And this is the part that I want to focus on. So even though it was, a bit of a meh weekend, their global revenue for Avatar has been over $1 billion every single time prior. So just to give you an example, in 2009, they only made about $77 million in the opening weekend domestically. That's $77 million of 2009 dollars, mind you. But they went on to earn $2.7 billion globally when all was said and done. They did almost the same thing in 2022, where The Way of Water ran for 23 weeks in the theater, which brought in $2.3 billion worldwide. So it really does highlight the franchise's enduring model as well as its dependency here on the international market. Adara, what do you make of this first week here for Avatar?
I think the more I think about this and the more research I do into this, the more I actually do think this is a bit of an L for Disney. Now, I like that you mentioned the runtime, Sharif. We talked about this morning as well, but I wanted to look up how significant is the runtime difference between this one and the second one, because I know they're all known for being really long. So Way of the Water, or whatever, the second one, that one is 3 hours, 12 minutes long. This one is 3 hours, 17 minutes long. This is only 5 minutes longer than the prior movie. So unfortunately, I think for Disney, it looks like it's maybe more than just a runtime issue. We also know the Wicked movies were recently released. This was like a 6-hour double feature. I know my sister watched this amongst, I'm guessing, a lot of others. And that movie didn't necessarily struggle as much at the box office. So I don't know if Disney can necessarily chalk this up to a runtime issue, unfortunately. I think maybe as well, part of it, I know, Sharif, you and I discussed this morning. I think just the fact that the first one was coming right out of the pandemic. This was like April, May of 2022. So this was right after, people could no longer had to wear masks in Toronto, like a month before that. So I think it was just a lot of excitement being able to go to the theaters. We know they were doing these ads at the time too, like, oh, see this movie in theaters the way it's meant to be seen. I just think there was a lot more excitement for it. It was also, the first Avatar movie in 13 years. I just think that this one didn't quite have that kind of wind under its sails. That combined with apparently a pretty messy writing process that just resulted in this being a truncated version of the second one. Likely why this failed, just to kind of, I think, expand upon it a little bit more than just, maybe a bit longer than expected. It is interesting, though, that the first one had actually a weaker opening than this one, $77 million domestically. However, again, the first one, we didn't have that context. We didn't have that story behind it, right? And it was also 2009, so that is quite a bit different. But yeah, I think just a little bit of food for thought, film industry perspective on why Avatar 3 did not do very well.
Yeah, no, I got to agree with that. And actually, somebody in the chat made that very same point, Adair, that they were working during the 2022 release, and they said exactly that people were coming out in droves because they had been locked up for so long and hadn't really been to the theater as of late. So great point there. Let's go on to the next story. Gold and silver, oh baby, rip into record highs as the macro risk, world macro risk that is, continues to build. Gold surged ram to all-time highs, with the futures hitting $4,445 an ounce and the spot price hitting $4,415 an ounce, extending the powerful rally that it's been on this year. In case you're wondering, up 70% year to date. Of course, at the time of the writing of this article, it could have changed now. Gold continues to act, honestly, as the primary safe haven hedge. What I was hoping would have been Bitcoin, but clearly not. Gold continues to be king hedger. Silver following gold as well. In fact, outdoing it now, up 128% year to date, with silver hitting $68.96 to $68.98 an ounce. Outperforming gold, the strength confirms the broad application across the precious metal complex rather than a narrow gold-only trade, which had been, basically that until about a few weeks ago, until silver really started going. Large and persistent fiscal deficits across the US, the UK, Europe, and other developed countries and increasingly Japan and China are renewing gold's role as a monetary hedge, as people fear, there may be more money printing at some point down the line, Joey. So we know that the Federal Reserve Chair in focus, President Trump said, he's going to make that decision in a few weeks. That could have an effect on the price of gold, as we have. Honestly, Joey, you know what we're talking about this. Why the hell is there QE again? I mean, someone explained this to me. They're not happy about the inflation handle being above 3, even though we got 2.7, but they're doing QE. Why are we doing QE? Quantitative easing. All right, so
labor market maybe.
Labor market, it's a fair point, Joey, but I mean, at the same time, your inflation. So anyway, what do you make of this whole thing here?
I mean, Sharif, we know that the Chinese have been buying gold hand over fist, essentially. So, I mean, look at these commodities just continuously climb higher. You have a new all-time high in silver today. I haven't even looked at gold, to be honest with you, on today's session. But just keep an eye out. Wow, what a tank on Tesla there. Oh man, I'm in pretty heavy on TSLL right now as well too, guys. There's gold. Gold putting in a new all-time high. I thought that we would see a little bit more of a pullback here, guys. That hasn't been the case. You get 11%, and then sure enough, you get a new move to the all-time high. You're up 13% off of that specific level. Keep a name out on I personally, the thing is though, with me, I don't want to buy them all the way up here, but if they continue to run how they are, and if equities continue to cool off like they are, then why not go and take a stab at some of these all-time highs? Typically is a pretty good buy, if you ask me.
Sounds good. Yeah, and I like the comments coming in from the chat. I do appreciate you guys. So Wisps HS says they doing QE because of the repo market stress. And I asked him, like, is that what they said? He's like, yes, it was due to SOFR spiking. But we did talk about this. I was reporting to you guys, I think a couple of weeks ago, maybe not even that long, that credit card delinquencies are up, as well as first missed payments on car payments, 30 days or longer, are also up year over year as well as month over month. So certain credit market stress starting to creep in. That's the bad side of the equation. The good side of the equation, we saw Canadian banks reporting. I can only give the Canadian side, of course, and their loan loss provisions, the amount of money that they set aside, which took it off from the positive side of the balance sheet into the negative side for contingency, was less. So, for example, if they thought we're going to have about $300 million in bad loans this quarter, they'd like put aside $400 million for the bad loans, and that number keeps coming in lower than analysts were expecting, meaning that banks, at least internally, don't feel there's as much risk. So it's a bit of a two-sided beast there. I see where the credit cards could be going up as well as car payments, but mortgages not so much. And that does make sense. If you're going to miss something, Joey, the last thing you're going to miss probably is a mortgage payment because you want to stay in that.
Yeah, you don't want the mortgage defaults.
Let's go on to the next story. Let's talk about Apple getting smacked with a €100 million fine again. Can you guys guess from where without looking at the title? Just guess. There's only one place that loves taking money off American companies' hands, and it is Europe, this time in Italy. Italy's competition authority, AGCM, fined Apple 98.6 million euros, which is about 115.5 million US dollars for alleged abuse of its dominant position in the mobile app ecosystem. The regulators in Italy said Apple holds, quote, absolute dominance, close quote, over third-party developers through the App Store. The investigation was launched initially in May of 23, and they coordinated with the EC, with the European Commission, as well as other global antitrust regulators. The ruling centers on Apple's App Tracking Transparency, ATT, that framework, which was introduced in April of 21. The regulator there argues Apple imposed stricter privacy requirements on third-party apps than on its own services. The developers were required to request additional user content via Apple mandated screens to collect and link data for advertising purposes. They didn't do that with their own internal apps, according to the regulator here. The process allegedly forced developers to duplicate consent requests, adding friction and disadvantaging third-party apps, so this reads. We're going to pause for a second. We got to go to Adair.
The show is sponsored by BTCC. Guys, I just found something crazy. I'm digging into exchanges and I stumbled across BTCC. Top 30 globally, but here's the wild part. BTCC has never been hacked, and while major exchanges keep getting wrecked, BTCC stays untouched with zero KYC if you are in the US, Canada, or Europe. And through Trader TV, you get 100 USDT coupons for registering, plus a 15% bonus thing that covers losses up to 15K USDT. So seriously, what am I missing here? Scan the QR code for more info. Back to you.
Joey, I don't know how you feel about everything, but I don't like getting wrecked.
No, I prefer boy.
And I don't like it. I don't like getting REKT.
No, I don't like getting. I don't like it at all. But what I do like right now, Sharif, Tesla's starting to go, brother. Oh no, are you kidding me right now? Oh my God.
Get it, Joey.
Brother, what happened, Katina man? I don't know. I'm asking you. All right, there goes TSLL. Listen, I was hyper-focused, man. I had to stick in with this one. That was not fun. Palm sweaty on TSLL as we slightly go in the money. I went double the amount of size on this bad boy right here to see if we can get this rocking, and we're still cooking up, Sharif. Honestly, brother, let's go on TSLL. Let's see if we can catch that fill. Bang, there it is, an additional one. All right, now we're calm and cool. Yeah, I mean, it sucks. I don't know if it's because we hyper-focus on this, Sharif, but I'm starting to get slightly frustrated on the fact that all these fines on American tech are coming out of the EU. So what can you do about that? Like, what is there that can be done?
Smack their companies right back.
Right back. But
throw shade on Benz, throw shade on Beamer,
absolutely.
decimate Porsche. Let's see what they do when you start doing that to them.
But Americans want to consume. They want to buy.
You don't
these
think
products.
the Europeans want to buy Apple iPhone?
No, that's very, very true. But I think that the American companies have such a larger impact in Europe than what they have, what the European vehicles or any manufacturer company has in the Western world, in my opinion.
There was, by the way, Jameson Greer, the U.S. trade representative, spoke about this on Friday. He basically left ASML out of the group of companies that the Americans will retaliate on. SAP is one of them. There's a bunch of others. I was just thankful as an ASML shareholder that they're not targeting ASML. I don't think they can target ASML. That's how critical ASML is, and of course, semiconductors and advanced AI chips, they don't want to target them. But they are looking now at targeting the European companies, and I don't think it's going to be a long time before they respond.
Well, but see, that's my next thing that I was going to lead to. Why does it feel like it's taking so long for them to respond? One day it's Google, one day it's Meta, the next day it's Apple, it's Tesla losing market share to the Chinese companies as well too. So it's like, why is it taking so long to respond to this situation?
I can't answer that. I really don't know. I know why they left certain companies in, certain companies out. Obviously, they rely more on some than opposed to the others, but we'll have to wait and see. But Jameson Greer on Friday or Thursday, one of the 2 days, he did make pronouncements to that effect. So if you're looking at finding more details about that, I'm sure you guys can find that easily online. Now, I did have another NVIDIA article to review here. There's this Nemotron 3 open models, which is going to power agentic AI. So NVIDIA, I'm just going to read this quickly. NVIDIA is expanding its open source model strategy, I should say, with Nemotron 3. They're releasing multiple variants instead of a single monolithic AI version. The lineup includes nano, super, and ultra versions, allowing developers to match model complexity and cost to specific workloads. The models are built on the hybrid latent mixture of experts architecture. I remember, what's his name, that weird guy that does podcasts. What's that weird guy that he always wears that black suit? I always forget his name. Lex Friedman. He was talking about mixture of experts architecture, or at least one of the guests that he had on was talking about this. It's designed to keep inference costs down while scaling multi-agent workflows. So all you need to know, open source agentic AI. Obviously, I had to do the other AI or NVIDIA story, which was about the H200. So I just wanted to mention that super quick. We're going to go on to the next story, though. Meta's board shakeup. So this was on Friday, but I wanted to mention it today because we didn't really talk about it on Friday. Dina, which is my sister's name, McCormick, exiting after 8 months. So Meta Platforms confirmed Dina Powell McCormick resigned from its board effective immediately, just 8 months after joining the board. The departure was disclosed on Friday with no indication of internal conflict or governance issues tied with the exit. Meta does not plan, though, to fill the vacant board seat, keeping the board smaller than previously advised. Despite stepping down from the board, she will stay on as an advisor in a non-board strategic capacity, so we'll have to see what that means. She served as the Deputy National Security Advisor during President Trump's first term. She spent 16 years at Goldman Sachs, where she led the sustainability and inclusive growth initiatives impacting investment. Her resume also includes senior roles with George W. Bush, adding bipartisan policy credibility to her profile. Meta added that she and Stripe CEO Patrick Collison in April as a part of the effort to expand their board to 15 members. I know that Dana White got added there as well. Joey, so 8 months on the job and she's gone. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. A little bit, not necessarily about the board, but I remember when we were first touching on the subject of Mark Zuckerberg and company, just recruiting talent, right? Just grabbing people left, right, and center. And then there was a shakeup. So is this a continuous narrative that we're seeing in Tesla? You're seeing it a shakeup on the board and is different segments
Meta,
as well too. Yeah, sorry, Meta. Yeah. Did I say something else? Sorry. No. And Meta. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So is this going to be a continuous narrative in Meta? Because listen, I said myself, I want to see what these teams are starting to put together, and I don't know if we're starting to get the results that I was looking for, considering you're grabbing talent and snatching talent.
You got a great point. Dana White, you know, he's on the board.
He's on the board.
And you and I talked about this. Anyway, I saw a couple of videos over the weekend where he gave comment about being on the board.
Yeah.
He talks about Zuck as a killer. And this guy literally works with, you know, fighters. You could make the argument they're the killers. No, he says Zuck is insane about how he approaches, you know, competition. He wants to decimate his competition.
Rightfully so. I don't think he would be where he is right now if he didn't have that type of mentality.
Agree completely. And we saw what he was like with, you know, Facebook and the whole thing.
Exactly.
I also want to mention that a lot of these 20-somethings, Joey, that are working under Alexander Wang in the super intelligence lab, they're all getting paid $50, $60 million.
They got big
20-somethings.
They got big checks, brother.
20-somethings.
Athletes, yeah, they're getting the athlete check.
So you gotta, like, I'm not saying you wonder about the culture, but do you think it becomes a little bit, I don't know, off-putting when you have like mid-20s getting almost nine-figure salaries?
Well, think about being that age and receiving that type of money. Do you still have the same amount of motivation at the end of the day? Right? Like, I don't know. Do you? I haven't been in that situation. So I'm asking everyone, right? Like, is that, are you going, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I was hella heavy on that too. That's why I wasn't paying attention. But there goes, can we get the screen maybe? Yeah, there we go, thanks. there it is, thank you very much.
She's busy texting, I know bro, don't disrupt her, bro.
So there it is. I mean, I don't know. Do you have the same motivation? Listen, I'm comparing apples to oranges.
Yes, sir.
But when you pay people like they've done it already, but they haven't done it, they don't have the same motivation. And what am I referring to?
What are you referring to?
The Toronto Maple Leafs. They were paid like they've done it, like they made it to the finals. No, in all seriousness, I think it's a solid comparison.
That one pokes you a little bit more.
Exactly. So when you hand out these kids these massive signing bonuses and these massive checks, and they haven't produced what you're looking for, we know that Llama sucks. We know that their glasses aren't the best. Now, a lot of people are reporting that they're cheap. So have they done it? Have they really crushed the competition? And I think the answer right now is no.
No? Okay. Fair enough. Let's go on to the next story, Joe. Let's talk about Citigroup cutting their targets on many different crypto-linked stocks, despite the fact that Citi remains bullish. So Citigroup lowered their price targets on several major crypto-exposed equities, citing what they are calling updated digital asset valuation assumptions rather than weakening fundamentals. Make of that what you will. The bank stressed this move reflects a sector-wide reset tied to the macro and crypto price modeling, not a bearish call on long-term adoption or earnings power of these names. So that's the caveat here. Let's start with Strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy. They cut their price target there from 485 down to 325. They did maintain that buy rating. Citi emphasized the change is driven by valuation methodology adjustments across the digital asset linked firms, not a negative inflection in Strategy's business or Bitcoin exposure. Again, you know, I keep having to caveat that. Gemini as well. Gemini Space Station saw its target reduced from $16 down to 13, with Citi holding the neutral rating. They cited slower near-term growth expectations, bullish also with the subject of their downgrade here, or the price target reduction, I should say. Their price target got trimmed on what is BLSL? BLSH, right? BLSH? Yeah, BLSH. Got cut down from 77 to 67, retaining the same buy rating, again framing it as a valuation reset rather than any company-specific weakness. They did, though, highlight one of their favorites, and that happens to be CRC frickin' L. What happened over here? What is this thing doing?
Circle.
They named it Citi's top digital asset pick, reflecting confidence in the business model and the regulatory positioning. They didn't cite this specifically, Joey, but one must assume they like that stablecoin game.
And that's what I was just about to lead to, right? Like, I think we have to kind of separate the stablecoins from the actual, like, Bitcoin and the Ethereum treasuries. I think they're two totally different ballparks, and they have completely different purposes. I can understand the MicroStrategy cut bullish as well too, but Circle, I think you should remain slightly bullish on this. No pun, obviously no pun in there. But why, just due to the transportation and the ability to transact currency via stablecoins, Bitcoin, we don't necessarily have that use case yet, other than store value. We're starting to establish a use case for Ethereum as well, too, with the blockchains. The stablecoins need to be on something. You want something that's efficient and going to continuously work, and that's the Ethereum game. But I can understand the micro strategy because Michael Saylor is essentially just putting on a massive bet that Bitcoin is going to continuously appreciate, and we have yet to find a specific use case for this cryptocurrency.
You're absolutely right.
I get it. Listen, it's a supply and demand thing, but
Creative
what are
Fool's
we going to,
theory.
yeah, exactly, but what are we going to use it for in the future? And one of, I think it was called the Ether Machine. So this individual came onto CNBC, and he has this startup called the Ether Machine. They're just mining Ethereum, essentially, at the end of the day. And what he said is, like, why would I want to own a rotary phone, essentially a landline, when I can have a smartphone? And what was the comparison between Bitcoin and Ethereum, essentially?
Wow.
So the multiple use case of Ethereum, opposed to just holding something for store of value, which is Bitcoin right now.
That's fair, man. I see the argument there. This is the chart on Circle, Ram, and it's been tough lately. I mean, if you were caught in that initial IPO bump up on the 23rd of June, we had a high of almost $300, $298.99 to be exact. And since that time to the current price action, we are down 70 more. We're about 70%, 69.94%. And quite frankly, I haven't seen a break here of the lower highs. So it is lower high, and more lower highs. In fact, we are below the 50 moving average as well, which is just below that $100 area. It looks like we almost, we did test the opening price. So look at that. From the 5th of January, the opening, or June, sorry, $70. We opened, give or take, $70, okay? We tested that level back on the 20th and the 21st of November, but since that time, we're about $17 higher, trading 87 and change. So it has been a bit of a tough time for Circle after the IPO. We'll have to see how this one does into the new year. Let's go on to the next story. Okay, we're going to pause for a second.
All right, guys, new traders, listen up. First month free. That's right, we're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite, analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with back testing, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to evaluate your trading. Scan the QR code or check the link in the description.
All right, Bovin saying VELO is moving up. It is. It's breaking out. It's got 42%. I'm just going to show the chart real quick, and then we're going to go on to the next story. VELO. This is the 5-minute look. Great call out, Bovin. A nice higher lows. Generally an area of respect here at the volume-weighted average price. It did breach it multiple times and on closing basis, but not by that much. In any event, 1570 high, trading at about 15 1/3 right now, up 42 3/4%. VELO, the ticker. Shout out to the LG Bovin for calling that one out. U.S. pharma prices, I should say U.S. pharma price cuts deal, Medicaid and cash pay reset. As we brought to you guys on Friday, many of the major pharmaceutical companies in the world were at the White House to strike a deal with President Trump on reducing their costs. So let's get right down to it because there's a lot of exceptions and rules we have to get to. Can you make this a little bit bigger, Ram? And yeah, thank you. So U.S. President Donald Trump announced agreements with 9 major pharmaceutical companies to cut drug prices for Medicaid and cash-paying consumers, aiming to align U.S. prices with other nations. Firstly, I just have to stop here for a second, that it looks as if the cash-paying individuals will have a substantial reduction, whereas if you were paying through a drug plan and you had a copay, it might not be as much of a reduction. So if you don't have a healthcare plan, you're going to stand to benefit a lot more than if you already have a healthcare plan and you're just subject to copays, from what I've been reading. Immediate headline price reductions were touted as up to 70% off the list prices on selected medications. In exchange, the participating companies, they're going to receive a 3-year exemption from potential tariffs, which reduces their near-term policy risk. Now, you'll recall that President Trump was going to basically impose 100% tariffs on imported pharmaceuticals if the companies didn't make, concerted efforts to build and produce drugs domestically. That's really what he wants, and that's been the focus of the tariffs, of course. The signatories to this deal includes Bristol Myers, Gilead, Merck, Genentech, Novartis, Amgen, Sanofi, GlaxoSmithKline, and this other German one that I never have an opportunity to say, but they make aspirin. Markets reacted positively, of course, with pharma stocks up about 1 to 3%. Here's the deal. This is what the deal includes. Medicaid price cuts across most drugs sold to low-income patients. There's also going to be direct-to-consumer cash pricing via the forthcoming Trump RX platform, which is routing buyers to manufacturer sites. That's what the Trump RX thing is going to be. And there's also the most favored nation pricing for new U.S. drug launches across commercial, government, and cash markets, including Medicare. So what does that mean? That means if you're selling the same drug in another country of, let's just call it the developed countries, okay? And you're selling it cheaper there, you got to give the United States the lowest price that you're offering that same drug at. Of course, for comparable countries, you got to give that to the United States. So if you're selling it $50 in the US and you were selling it for 25 in Switzerland, you got to sell it for 25 in the US. Commitments are going to increase U.S. manufacturing as well. So we know that there's going to be a portion of foreign revenues to offset the costs and collectively invest about $150 billion in the United States R&D manufacturing, with Merck separately just citing $70 billion for them. There's also the select strategic reserve donations or drug ingredients. So I think Eliquis is going to be donated free to the United States by the manufacturer there for holding in reserves. Any comments, Joey, off this? There's more to say, but I mean, I'm just...
I think it's interesting, right? Margins are going to come into play. But it's funny because it's like, hey, you have Obamacare one day. Every administration tries to come out with their own drug plan and just kind of sending the whole industry into disarray. I find it interesting, but cheaper drugs is essentially what you want. You have the individuals like, what's his name? The pharma bro, Martin Shkreli, just pumping prices essentially to the point where people can't afford the medication that they need. I think this is a good step in the right direction.
Sounds good. Adara, give us your take on this latest development.
I think by far the most market-moving aspect of this, maybe contrary to what we might have expected, was UNH, because as you guys can see here, UNH tumbled in a big way on Friday afternoon because Trump said at least 3 or 4 times that he wanted to have a meeting with these health insurance companies to try to get their prices down. So this comes out, UNH stock tumbles, Cigna and Humana, 2 other health insurance names, also moved a bit, but I think by far UNH making the largest and most sustained move on that. So keep an eye on these health insurance plays. Trump said that he wants to have a meeting with them in the new year, maybe in Florida or maybe somewhere else. But either way, that's going to be something to watch. He also teased a major drug deal with J&J, Johnson & Johnson. They have yet to announce a drug pricing deal. Trump said that he's going to have them into the office, I believe, this week or sometime before the end of the year. He mentioned some other companies as well, not by name, but he said there'd be 3 or 4 others. So Johnson & Johnson and UNH going to be worth looking at moving forward here off of that announcement.
Thank you very much. All right, guys, a couple of more headlines here, but they're not really that important. There's a Honeywell facing a legal charge, and if you want to do more research on it, T1 Energy secures a major domestic solar supply deal. The ticker for that is TE. If you're interested there, we're not going to go through those, though. All right, let's get to focusing here on some of the small caps that are still maintaining their look into the later time of the day. NBY is doing nothing. So what we're going to do, we're going to change that one, Ram, and we're going to put VELO. So if you can come to my screen, it's taking out the highs, 1580, great call out Bovin, midday on this one. It didn't really have much in the way of volume, basically, for the entirety of our show. I want to say from 10 o'clock till about 1:30, VELO was a chasm of volume, but it has since changed its tune, coming into the intraday high, 1580, up 44.33%. This one could be certainly interesting at that $15 area if it is to dip down far enough to touch that $15 where the 10 EMA on the 5 is hanging out. Also, there are these levels here. So whether you're looking at that 15.25 or possibly 15.5 from the earlier spike, I want to say around 10 o'clock. Those could also be areas of support. But it seems like if, you know, the best trade or the best entry into the trade is to give it to prior bar low, as prior bar low has not been breached since about 125. So VELO in focus, certainly for me. HXHX not really doing much, but FJET, excuse me, continues to hang out above the 10 EMA south of 17, and it has had a hard time clearing 17 decisively despite being above it many times with a 1786 high a day. It keeps kind of dropping below 17 as the short sellers and or the profit takers look to get out or get in at that level as well. SIDU, I've been involved in this one basically all morning, also trading in with higher lows, looking to take out that 250 decisively. Again, was trading above 250 momentarily into 56s, but as you can see, most, if not all, the closing prints south of that $0.50, that should tell you that short sellers are getting pretty aggressive with that $0.50 defend there. So those are the ones that I wanted to focus on. HXHX, not really giving up the ghost, but VELO, FJET, and SIDU decidedly better looks in the world of small cap gappers, Joey.
Yeah, so Eduardo asked me a pretty good question. He said, Joe, some thoughts on options, calls, or puts or SSR DJT at this level. My issue with that would be essentially just keep an eye on the IV, right? If you don't get a substantial move to the downside, you not only will you just lose everything to theta, but also just the implied volatility decay. We can pull up the actual chain right now and see what we got going on. I'm all out of Tesla here, guys. It came back against me. I did get out a little bit earlier as it climbed back, but I was just like, I had too much unrealized, so I'm like, hey, I'm not going to allow that to come back any further. All right, so let's see what we got going on for DJT and check out our at the money IV, 94.9% on this week's expiration cycle, 88%, so typically cool down. You're looking at the puts. I don't even know what the chart is specifically looking like either. So DJT, we did have a couple of pumps. I mean, you could probably go the out the money route, I think, in this opinion, in this instance. And if you get any sharp moves to the downside, then I would just be looking to take some profit. But do you want to be buying puts at this point? Like, this is the 4-hour chart. You already have a massive move off of that previous pivot high around $17. You're now at $14.44, so you get a 20% pullback from that specific peak high. Do you want to be chasing it all the way down here? For me, the answer is going to be no. I'd be a little bit more patient on this and go the share route. Listen, it's not that expensive of a name. And why am I telling you to go the share route? Why? Because you just eliminate so many variables in the options contract when you're looking to short or even go long things. So just buy the shares if you're truly bearish on this. Just load up. It's not expensive. It's only $15. Buy 100 of them, buy a couple hundred of them, whatever you can do, and just avoid the options contracts right now. That's in my opinion. That is this week. What are we looking at from for an out the money? Wow. Okay. That's pretty interesting. So at that $12 level, hey, if you want to buy a lottery ticket at that $12 strike price, you're paying $6 for an out the money put. $6 for the rights to 100 short. Remember that, right? So at that $12 level, it's $6. So if you really feel that DJT is going to tank further than what it is, why not spend a couple bucks on those $6 on that $12 strikes? They're $6, and if they happen to double, by all means, there you go. You get 100% return on that. If not, you lose $12 or $18 or $24, whatever, however many contracts you're looking to buy. Hold on. What stock is that?
Look at the blood, bleeding, continue to bleed its own blood.
Oh, there it is.
This pleases me greatly. There goes Netflix down again into $93, is down 1.5% on the flakes. The flakes continues to bleed its own blood. Every time it pops into that 10 EMA on the daily, it is selling off. So look, you never really know how these things are going to go, but this is yelling at me, bear flag, bear flag.
Oh, no.
Look at that bear flag initiation from around 110. And since we initiated that said bear flag, we are down 15% off that bear flag formation on Netflix. Now, you know what bear flags do, obviously. They can pull back into area highs, right? Just the same thing as a bull flag, right? It pulls back into an area low before it continues. So I want to say on the daily, Netflix has resistance or maybe a retracing area. Obviously, $100, that's a whole dollar area, so you should be looking at that. But look at this area low, right? I want to say between 105 to 102.5 here on Netflix on the daily, but it does feel like it could be, Joey. Oh no.
You think so?
A flat bottom. Joey, I mean, look at that.
I'm looking at
You're looking at the daily.
Yeah,
You're looking at the daily?
No, I'm looking at the.
No, you need to look at the daily on that. Flip to the daily on that,
larger
my boy.
structure breakdown.
Look at that.
Oh, no.
Oh no, the flat bottom's yelling my name there.
I mean,
so there you go. NFLX looking
I'm
awfully weak here.
30%, so big time bear territory here in
Jesus
Netflix.
me.
My average is like $97. I'm not gonna complain. I might buy a little bit more.
Here it is. All right, you want to know what else is going?
What is it?
Couldn't do it.
I got it.
There goes FJET
again?
into $19. It is a 19.28 high the frickin' day. FJET is him, and I didn't even take one trade on this one. I just couldn't set up properly on it. There it goes again, Joey, right back into the high, showing 21. It's a 19.28 high a day on FJET, up 186%. This one's an IPO from last week, guys, so we don't have too much in the way of a history on this, but you have intraday technicals off which you can base trades. FJET, of course, on the Amex. I was talking crap about this one earlier. It absolutely made me look like I knew nothing about trading small cap gappers, as this one was not bamboozling at all.
What did you say?
There it goes again into the high of the day. What? Pardon me.
I said, no, what kind of crap were you talking to it?
Remember I was talking crap about the exchange, the Amex exchange, and like you have to immediately suspect it, right?
Don't
be trade on the Amex.
Suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. And there goes SIDU into another high of the day, 259 on SIDU. 1598 on VELO. The small caps are in play going into the afternoon show. They are not giving up the ghost. SIDU's up 112. VELO's up 42. FJET's up 184 and looking to go more here, man. So good strength in small cap gappers in this holiday shortened week, and more pleased I could not be. But watch out for the bamboozlement here, because VELO is taking a bit of a turn here, Joey. If I can show the chart on VELO on the NQ. Yes. A wide spread on this one, by the way. 15 on the bid, 37 on the ask. 15.98 high now, dropping aggressively into $15. I want to point out that that $15 area on VELO, Ram, is the 10 EMA on the 5, as well as being, of course, that whole dollar value. So a dip trade into 15 could be a good idea here. And then you give it a little bit below 15. You put 1480s or whatever as your stop. But it really does seem like it's just FJET's world, and we're all living in it, trying to trade above 19, Joey. Good strength on these names.
Yes, sir. I mean, all right, well, you were talking about Netflix. I've seen some signals, man. Let's see. I have a super tight stop on this one, so we'll get out of it. We'll take a look at the 5 minutes. As soon as we establish a new low of the day, we're at a dodge. So I'm just literally risking pennies at this point. I got a prime time fill at 95s. That's where I posted up at. So as soon as we breach that, I'm giving it 5 cents. We head into 92.90s, I'm at a dodge. So this is going to be a highly accurate scenario, which I'm currently sitting in. And there you go. A nice little pop just like that, Sharif, all the way up. Oh, 5 cents, we're already 10 cents. I'm gonna try to hold this for as long as I possibly can. Maybe we can head up into 93.10s. That'll put us at roughly a 3 or a 4 to 1, just like that. So not too bad of a look. I'll pull it up on my screen so you guys can see my entry. And I just posted up. I'm like, all right, we see the indecision prints that we like. Let's get involved on that. As soon as you brought it up, I'm like, oh my days, what stock is that? And it's unfortunate that it's Netflix, and it's really weak if you look at the higher time frames, obviously. But right at the lows, you post up at 92.95s to get that fill, and then sure enough, we get 10 cents as quick as you would like, Sharif. So 93.10, that'll be us at approximately, what is that, 10 to 20, yeah, 4 to 1. So, hey man, I'll take it all day. See if we can get into those levels here on NFLX.
All right, guys, I don't have a whole lot going on, but FJET continues to go. 1568 high of the day. It's trying to defend the $0.50 now. Great move up here as we close in on 200%. There's a few minutes left on the show, so I'm not going to be taking any trades on FJET at the moment, but it is, you know, coming into that $20 whole dollar psychological resistance with a 1568 high. So keep your eye out on that. Separately, there is also VELO, which continues to go over here into $16. You can just leave it on my screen. I'm just going to go through the different names there. NUAI as well, not looking all that bad. I said very little about NUAI, but It does have a decent day, 15 3/4, coming back in here, holding another area of previous area of technical resistance. I'm talking about that 430, dips down after making a 450 high, holds 430 to the T, and now bouncing back off here. Watch out for the lower highs though, and a breaking and a loss of that 430 area, given that it held up above it for 15 minutes, and that area was tested, I want to say 25, 30, and 35, and now bouncing off that area as well. So good look there for NUAI. Another one we were involved in multiple times today, LUNR. Good look for this one. Coming into the high of the day not long ago, 1617. There it is in the 16s again. So good strength here on LUNR as that looks to take out the day's high. It is in fact at the day high right now. I saw some 17 prints come in. So that one could be moving up a little bit more. It's already up on the day about 8%. So not really a big winner on this one, Joey, but a nice predictable chart pattern. FJET topping tail candle, I'm being told by the chat. 1968 high, dropping down into 1850 now. So over $1 above the lows. There is an area of support at 18 bucks, given that it was a candle of resistance at 1245. In fact, it was a topping tail candle. So we know there was aggressive profit taking in or short selling into 18. Look for an 18 hold. 18 doesn't hold, then you are looking certainly at 17, where the 10 EMA on the 5 is, as well as all the closing prints on FJET were all south of 17 as well. So that could be another technical area of support, Joey.
All right, good look there, guys. All right, so let's just keep our eyes on the tape. We had an aggressive pullback, but we didn't crack through that low of the day. So we're holding up right now at 92.95s. That is a pretty good level, but we want to see those continuous flushes on the tape of strength, of at the ask and above it. So we have a little, there we go. That's a nice little pop. There we go, an additional pop to the top side. That's the strength that we're looking for, right? You've seen those clean flushes on the tape, and look at the order size start to come through. So we'll allow it to take a breath, and then we want to see a couple of more of those come in, and then maybe we can hit that price target of around 93.10. We'll move probably about 20% of our position. There goes Tesla. So that was a really nice trade as well too, guys. And we got out a little bit earlier, so let's try not to make the same mistake twice here on NFLX. But there's Tesla breaking through that previous pivot. I got out a little early here. You can see it didn't come quite to my break even, but at this point I'm like, hey, what are you up to? And then sure enough, we get out. I only had about 30% of my remaining position, and then now you're starting to establish a new HOD. This was my largest size on the session, by the way. That's why I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I got to focus on what we got going on here. So that was the largest position. As it's continuing to climb, you tap into 2350 on TSLL, and now we just want to see the momentum kind of transition over into what we got going on with Netflix. Can we break through this level? This $93 level is acting as a pretty strong resistance zone right now. Even though there's no other price action in and around this area, you can see the defense step in. So what we need is aggressive sellers to really push price past that 93.05 level, and then sure enough, you might be able to take that additional leg higher up to 93.20. There's the flush. It wasn't enough in order for us to break it. 93.05s, you're getting 93.04s. There it is. There's a clean push right there, Sharif, on the tape. Keep your eyes on the tape as well. So there it is. I'm going to be in this position until otherwise. I was looking at the potential topping tail candle on FJET. I don't see it just yet, Sharif, but there is some indecision starting to form, and there it is, 93.10s on Netflix. This is going to be one of our largest positions as well on the day. So let's go and let's continuously cook up here, guys.
Sounds good, Joey.
The double shot of me
there, brother.
Yeah, the double shot of me there.
Double shot.
Yeah, double shot.
Double shot. All right, guys,
into,
it is time to send you over to the big boys to our right, Neil and Sean. They're going to be taking you into the afternoon rundown. I'll see everybody very shortly at the big desk.
All right, what's up, everybody?